Fact, I just was in the
Hello!
strange chat.
Greetings and welcome to you brave citizens of our new world. It is I, Toronto's greatest supervillain and evil genius, Dr. Terrawat, coming to you live from the Lair 4.0. We're playing ourselves some friggin' Dungeons and Dragons today.
Ooh.
And hello, yes. I'm so excited to be back with you guys. I know that I missed the last couple of games, and I apologize for that. I've been soups under the weather, and I'm still sort of like fighting my way out from under the cold. But hello to everybody who's in the chat here. We got ourselves a Claire, Tonberry, Rainer's there. We got Mercenary Pen. We got a Rustane. We got a Jessicat. Hello, so good to see you again. Gray's Tavern is here, and also Rakdai's here. Haven't seen Rakdai in a hot minute. Haven't talked to him since February. So good to see you. So good to hear from you.
Hey.
I'm fine. I'm not fine, but all right. Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that you're not doing so hot there, bud. But I'm glad that you're all right. I'm glad at the very least that you're all right, and I hope things get better for you soon. We were just kind of sitting around being like, a bunch of people put a bunch of random letters spelling out jerky underneath my last post on the Discord. You know who used to write weird shit underneath my posts on Discord? Rakdai. I wonder how he's doing. I don't have a PS5, Rakdai. Don't worry. I've been looking around for it. I heard the news recently that Sony's going to be turning up their production of PS5s.
Good.
That they're trying to shift themselves into overdrive a little bit because they were like, it should clear up by February of 2021. It's now June of 2021, and they're like, what happened? Like,
It's May. It's not June
well,
yet.
it's halfway through May. It's pulling up on June, and it's still a disaster. I know, and I want to get into Demon Souls. And that's all. It's like Demon Souls, and I think there was like one other game. I was gonna play Resident Evil Resistance on it because there are considerably less people hacking on the PS5 playing Resident Evil Resistance, and I'm so excited to play more of that game with people that aren't fucking around. But yeah, so of course, where would we be? Yeah, no, time isn't real, Jessica. Time's a complete construct at this point. We've all been indoors for over a year.
Time was always a construct. Just now we have time to sit with that.
Yeah. Well, time was always a thing that we made up, but now time has become meaningless.
What do you mean this has been longer than 3 months?
Yeah. This
It's
is
still March.
It's still March 2020. March the 375th or something.
It's more like the 400th at this point, I think.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me Google what day in March it is. Google always tells me.
Now I suffer in fallout dust.
Oh, something that I found out recently. Time is a construct that is not only known by humans.
It's the
Bees also know
437th of March.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, they're like, man is the only one who measures time, and I'm like, no, other creatures do it. They just don't do it the way that we do. Like, they observe time differently from us, or at least they measure it differently.
I was about to say you can jet lag bees by moving them.
Hey,
through
Saffron.
the time zones.
Yes, you can. Jessica, we're
Which
all
is
just gonna sit
which is
here for a
amazing.
hot minute and stare into the void.
Wait, you can jet lag bees?
Yes, you can.
How did...
They did an experiment where there was a beehive at 10 o'clock in the morning. They would bring out sugar water for the beehive. And after kind of trying to isolate it as much as possible from all other possible ways that they were detecting time, they then shipped the beehive across the Atlantic. And the bees came out of the beehive like 6 hours jet lagged because they were like, now it's time for food.
What's going on? Where's food?
It doesn't look like time for food. It's dark outside. What's going on?
Today is March 439th of 2020. Don't forget to vote this November.
There's actually a website that I posted. There's a website. It's whatdayofmarch2020.com, and it will tell you what day of March 2020 it is.
And then there's another one when I refresh the page. It's still March 439th of 2020, Groundhog Day, but real life.
Yeah, mine says, I never thought I'd want 2016 back.
Yeah. Hell of a leap year. My God.
Is it over yet?
Yeah.
Can we get the Y2K scare back again?
Yeah, right. Can I please have 2000?
Y2K turned out all right. Splounched.
Would anything surprise us now? Is what it says.
Would anything surprise us, man? Now, yeah. Oh
The
my
month
God.
that just doesn't fucking.
You know
end.
what? You know what though? As hard and awful as everything has been, really quickly, I'm just gonna put this on the table before we get into the D&D. As terrible as everything has been, and everything else, there is, at least for me, observing this whole situation, there is a silver lining to a lot of this. One, people are a lot more thankful of like the friends and family that they have and the people that they can see. I've noticed a lot of people like definitely putting aside a lot of awful bullshit that has been plaguing them. Like a lot of drama has just like flared up and then burnt right the fuck out because people just don't see each other anymore, and this whole like seeing other people they definitely took for granted. So like now that they can't see anyone anymore, a lot of people, or they can't see the people that they want to, like all of that awful older bullshit has kind of died out, and people are a lot more thankful for things, and like the environment kind of took a turn for the better for it. And I think that now that people are getting vaccinated and things are starting to turn up for the better, people are like, you know, definitely there's like this nice sort of novel positivity that's coming back around, and I think that that's really, really cool. So I'm really happy about 2021 and the way things are starting to go. Like I've got a couple weeks and I'm gonna get my first shot of my vaccine, and I'm excited to get out there. The infection and death tolls in the States are starting to fucking drop the hell off because a bunch of people are getting vaccinated and it's turning around. And yeah, I'm just real excited, dude. I'm all about it. Yeah, contactless food delivery is a gift from the gods, and you will have to pry from my cold, introverted hands. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I think we can keep from COVID. Things like not shaking hands, and wearing masks on the subway and stuff like that. You know, it's nice. But anyways, we can do this. We're getting around it. We're turning this bad boy around, and I think that, you know, we will all appreciate the light a little more once we get out of the dark. And where would we be in this world of darkness and light, in the continent of Imran? Where would we be, of course, without our intrepid players? Our wonderful people that we have here. Let me just turn on that music. We are, of course, starting off at the top of the list here, we've got Esteban coming in playing the skeleton archer, Talrind.
I cast bow.
It's super effective. And of course, up next we have Raynor coming in playing our draconian sorcerer, Drakyar.
I honestly have nothing to say right now.
That's okay, my man. And of course, we've got Keldaka Grey coming in playing our cleric, who is also a kobold named Snick.
Nick is not a lap lizard, despite the fact I'm currently on a lap and I'm a lizard.
Yeah, you curled up and fell asleep on that one girl's lap in the carriage, so you're just a snoozy. You're a little snoozy boy.
Snoozy boy.
And of course, we've got Quad coming in playing our Warforged warrior who's driving the carriage, Alloy.
Beginning navigation.
And of course, we've got Palanthir coming in playing our Air Genasi rogue, Caleb.
Even in the fantasy realm, GPS still messes up. What? Why? Why does it have
Turn left.
So yeah, I was about to like turn left. Turns into a fucking ditch.
On my left.
Left is
Do
the
a
ocean.
U-turn.
You are going the wrong way. And of course, last but certainly not least, we've got NB Rex coming on in playing our Goblin Bard, Piffles.
I blow stuff up.
Hell yeah.
Sometimes.
All right, so when last we left our intrepid adventurers, they had just gotten through surviving an ordeal, facing off against the Skeleton King, or so he called himself, within the ruined town of Deora, which has been kept by the Empire of Brivalden as sort of a training ground for a lot of their paladins and internal guards of the light. They ran into a paladin who was there by the name of Samuel Brightblade, who, upon standing side by side with some of the undead in the party and the other monstrous members of the B team, barely surviving the assault of the Skeleton King, decided that perhaps not everything was so cut and dry or black and white as the Empire would have everyone believe. Planting his sword into the ground, he then left with his soldiers and departed. The group then headed just outside the city to the north, found a tree that they could pull up under, and fell asleep for the night.
Someone's mic on?
What was that?
Yeah, we just got a little bit of. Oh, I think Ton's microphone is on.
Oh.
So. So we're just getting some background sound.
Tadberry.
The
Let's go get.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Sorry, I'm just double checking everything on the Discord there. So yeah, you guys now find yourselves, as the sun rises on the next day, you guys can all complete yourselves a long rest, and you find yourselves now in the carriage that is parked for the most part underneath a large tree off the side of a dirt road that, as you can see, is not marked on your map. Inside the carriage is still our lovely vampire daughter, Arami, who is hanging out with a one Sneck on her lap.
I think Dracula was sleeping in the carriage as well.
Oh yeah, like a bunch of you guys crawled in there after everything went the fuck off and passed out.
I had one spell left.
You know what, Mercenary Pen? We all make jokes about GPS and fantasy GPS going straight ahead through the wall of Eternal Flame, but who here remembers MapQuest?
Oh, Matt.
Oh, God.
Quest.
Yeah. let me just bring that back up for you. How's that feel?
Who
Hold
else
on, I
has
gotta
those?
print the directions.
Yep. And then you have to compare it with the book that everybody keeps in their glove compartment, but no one looks at anymore.
I was like, the name sounds familiar to me, but I think I was suppressing the memories.
Oh no, my mom is a terrible navigator, so I would always become the navigator when we went anywhere, and it sucked because I'm also a terrible.
Okay, there you go. Now you've muted yourself, Tonberry. You did it.
That was actually me.
Okay,
Oh,
thank
yeah.
you.
Oh,
Because there was just yelling coming through her microphone. And so I didn't know what the fuck was going on there, but I'm glad we got it sorted.
Wheels.
So yeah, you guys, as the sun rises, find yourselves in this field under a tree by the road in your carriage. The carriage that you sort of picked up from the previous owner of it, Lord Waycrest.
I mean,
We
now
had
that
just
everyone
been
else is
resting in the
rested-
carriage.
If
Yeah.
everyone else is rested, Talron's going to go rest now because he'd definitely not have been sleeping until everyone else was back up.
Just a burning gaze staring at the town to the south, just like, no.
This was a long day. I met a bigger asshole than I'd ever met before, and I don't like him.
Yeah,
And
having a little
everyone
trouble
else is-
sleeping. He did try to take control of you, and that was a little distressing.
It was
I have one
jarring,
question.
distressing, and the rest of the party needs sleep. A lot of sleep.
What's your question?
I have one question. When Sneck wakes up, does he stretch himself out like a cat?
You'll have to wait and find out.
only time will tell.
you're giving him ideas. Should you be giving him ideas? Oh,
So what are you guys doing?
Alloy, you good to go north?
Where exactly north are we heading? Was there a place that we were stopping by? Or are we heading straight north?
Getting back to the map, so that we can have ourselves a little gander here. You guys are about
sure
here
we were-
right now.
Yeah, I think we were heading to Egress, skipping over Elora. We have nothing to do over there.
True.
Lore's a small town.
Also, yeah, Alora, I mean, it's not necessarily it is a small town at the center of it, but it's a large, large farming community, so there's like a ton of farms mixed in together around that area. But I will also point out to the folks at home, we've renamed the port town here to Stowport instead of Egris because it was too close a name to Egris and it was bothering everybody, so I decided to make an executive decision and just change the name of that town to Stowport. So that's what's up.
Well, it comes down to what we're doing. I think Drakyar's trying to get breakfast taken care of.
Yeah. If you guys want, you can sort of like get up and sort of put together a little campfire outside and make some food before you guys head out.
Yeah. She's gonna go outside and she's gonna lay in the grass and eat flowers. Because stuff on the surface just goes right out of the ground. You can eat it. It's weird.
Classic Piffles.
So with that, I will be right back.
Yep.
They're all dandelions. We're good.
So, Drakyar sort of like puts together a few pieces of wood and whatever else that they can find to sort of make a small fire and starts cooking up some food. Rustle up some grub.
Sorry, is it nighttime right now or is it morning?
It's morning.
Okay.
Late morning or?
Has it been
it's like
8
early
hours since
morning.
I fell asleep?
Yeah, like you can all take a long rest. Since it is
Asking the
like
important
morning
questions
now.
here.
Oh, let me reset my spell slots then.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if y'all heard me at the beginning be like, it's the morning, you can all take a long rest as like on your character sheets.
Okay, did miss that. My apologies.
That's okay.
I missed that too. 100p missed that. There we go.
But yeah, you can all mark off a long rest. And even you as well, Esteban, if you wanted to say that Talrand was like watching during his inactive state, then that's fine.
Swapped with Alloy.
Yeah, you guys have your usual, like the both of you kind of keep watch during each of your inactive times. That's the thing. A lot of like they definitely in 5th edition did a bit of an equalization across the board for Dungeons and Dragons for all the races, because some races, like the Warforged, don't sleep, but they do have like a state of inactivity that they need to be in roughly for 4 hours. Even elves don't sleep, but they need to have like their sort of meditation that they take for a few hours. But a long rest is still 8 hours. So to benefit from a long rest, even though they can be awake for the other 4 hours, elves do still need to be resting at least for 8 hours. And that is like the other 4 hours that they're not in their trance or meditation or whatever, they can do stuff like pitter around the camp, cook food, sit and talk with other people or stand watch, but it's like they need to have a time where they're not active, basically.
Oh, so there was a thing I wanted to do, but I need to know 2 things.
Yep.
Well, I need one thing. A, do we have a ruby worth at least 50 gold?
Is there one in your inventory?
I don't know what the collective inventory is for random treasure at this point.
Well, let's check the test.
Esteban's got an Excel spreadsheet at some point, somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like I know there's just a list of things.
I'm pulling it up.
I need a young priest and an old priest.
That's technically a young priest. We're gonna go that way.
We have a bag of gems from Ogun that we've never fully explored.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you did get a bag of gems from Ogun, and we didn't look into what those are. Cool.
I mean, it's important to figure out what to do with it at some point, but
Well,
not yet.
after the I can't see debacle of the problems last time, I was thinking that it might not be a terrible idea, at least for Alloy, because, rogues want to be sneaky, so you might not want to carry a light source. But at least for Alloy, to have something, whether it's a sword he draws to use at night, or an amulet he can pull out from underneath, like some kind of covering, something, and I can just cast Continual Flame on it. And then in combat, he can just like pull an amulet up from underneath his shirt, and oh look, I have a torch that doesn't take a hand and never, ever, ever, ever goes out.
Yeah. Continual Flame is a fire source that doesn't produce heat or is extinguishable. It's just a magic fire.
Yeah, a flame equivalent in brightness to a torch springs forth from an object that you touch. The effect looks like a regular flame, but it creates no heat and doesn't use oxygen. A continual flame can be covered or hidden, but not smothered or quenched. Lasts until dispelled.
Yeah. Well, do you want to root around in the bag?
Yeah.
All right. So there's a couple things you actually find, because this was a bag of gems that you got from one of the rooms in the slave traders' sort of like head compound, where they had been sort of collecting a lot of not only the treasures of the people that they'd been kidnapping to sell off, but also a couple other things as well. The bag of gems that you are looking through contains, let's see here, there is inside, you find, actually, what do you roll for appraisal? Because there isn't, like, a skill for that anymore.
That's an interesting question.
That is an excellent question.
Investigation? Would it be like investigation, maybe?
It might be investigation.
That's an intelligence one. Would it be intelligence or a wisdom-based thing?
Right? No.
Or would it be like arcana, maybe?
Arcana makes sense because there's a spell component.
Yeah, if it's
Yeah,
a
that's what I was
magic
thinking.
item or a spell component or a scroll, gems and or precious metals, people suggest using nature. Religion
Okay.
or history for like art or artistic objects, and then investigation or perception for everything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, if anybody wants to roll like a nature check and look through the bag, then I can give you. I won't give you like incorrect variables, but I can give you like loose variables.
You correctly
Someone with an
identify
intelligence score
these,
higher than 0.
Yeah, nobody
Please
wants
help
me to
me.
do that because Piff's just gonna eat the rocks. Don't make me do that.
Who's good at
I-
nature?
Rainer.
I was gonna say,
Alrin?
it's either
I mean, I got-
the Raider.
I can try. I only got a +2.
Talrin has a grand total of 0.
17.
Hey, 17.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
So Drakiar, with your draconic lineage, you are familiar with the costs of gems. At least the gems that you're finding in the bag here, they are familiar to you. You look over, and out of them you find that there is 2 diamonds, each of them worth 100. Write these down, please, because I'm not going to repeat myself.
I am writing down.
Nice.
Thank you.
So there's 2 diamonds that are worth 100 gold each. There is a ruby, a sapphire, and an emerald, each worth 50 gold pieces. You find a fucking fist-sized topaz that is worth 200 gold. Excuse me. And there are 2 other strange objects that you find in here, actually, as you're looking around with a 17. You find a large red corundum.
Oh, what?
What?
It's a gem type.
Okay.
Corundum.
A corundum?
And that
Oh, that.
I think that's isn't that what sapphires fall under?
Corundum, yeah. Corundum.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What,
Oh, those
one large
things.
red
Okay, I had
corundum
to
and
Google
what
that.
else?
A large red corundum and a stone that has like some symbols that have been etched into it. Roll me an Arcanum check. Oh fuck! Okay, cool. 23.
I
Dope.
am fairly familiar with this is.
Dope. Yeah. You see this large red corundum, and you're like, oh fuck, that is an elemental gem. That gem is containing a large fire elemental.
Oh.
Oh.
Yikes.
Oh no.
Careful with that.
Oh, that'll be
Can I
useful.
eat it?
Yeah. So that's like a Pokeball for a giant towering being made of fire and hatred. So
Guys,
careful
guys,
with
guys,
that.
guys,
I
guys,
need a
guys,
slingshot and
guys,
a bunch
guys,
of things
guys,
we don't want to live.
Put it in the bad pipes. It can
No.
hold bad pipes.
No.
No.
Then we
That
don't
sounds
need
like a-
fuel. We have a fire friend in the music making thing.
It'll
Considering
explode
I
out of the
have-
bagpipes.
considering I have the option to become fire resistant, I think I'll carry that.
Put it in there with magic.
And what's the... Does
No.
Raynor get anything on the etched stone symbol?
The etched stone that you see in there is actually a luck stone.
Stone.
So I'll tell you how that works. The luck stone is a flat gray and black river stone that's inscribed with an unknown arcane symbol. Feels cool to the touch. When carrying the stone, you gain advantage on an ability check of your choice. The stone can't be used in this way until the next dawn.
I'm gonna be real honest. Can we just give that to Caleb because of mind control shit? Because he has had the worst luck with this.
That's a saving throw. I don't think it applies to saving throws.
Yeah,
Oh, wait,
it's an ability check.
Oh, an ability check. Okay.
Yeah.
They're skill checks.
While you're taking a look in there, can you check what the set of dice does that we have?
Oh yeah, that's right. You guys did find like a fun set of dice that is in there. Have I described the set of dice to you yet?
No.
No.
Okay. Sorry.
Please, no one else be editing the chest of holding right now, because that's what I'm writing stuff down.
It is a pair of engraved bone dice. So somebody carved these dice out of bones.
What kind of check is it to know the significance of that?
I mean, it's just like a perception check if you want. Like you can tell feeling them over and looking over the dice that it's just dice, but they were carved out of bones.
Okay.
Yeah, with a perception of 3, it's just some dice.
Also, there's the I was about to say, is Drakir like looking in the chest, going, what is this, and why is it here?
Well, Drakir pulled out a sack of gems that you guys had like pilfered from forever ago, and was like, "I'm gonna look through this because we haven't looked through this yet, so I'm gonna look at our shinies." And was just like, "Okay, and this."
Snack, not Dracula.
Oh yeah,
I'm guessing Snack.
Snack pulled it out and was like, I don't know what these are. Drakir, can you fix this for me? Can you solve
Drakir,
this?
tell me about the spark, please.
Called me over to identify.
Alright,
Are any of these worth at least 50 gold? Just the red one. I just need to know if the red one is worth at least 50 gold.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This red one, not this red thing. This red one, not this one. Don't
What?
touch this one.
What?
No.
Okay. So, Snack will just turn to everybody else and basically just say, like, what he wants to do. Like, I want to cast a spell that will make it so that the next time we're fighting in the dark, Alloy's not blind.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
Yeah.
Alloy, I just need something that you can hide when you don't want to glow. It can
I'm
be a weapon
bleeding
in a
blue.
sheath, it can be a necklace, it can be...
His eyes. Just
I'm
constant
deleting the
flaming
ruby off the list.
Theoretically speaking, I could enchant Alloy with this, okay? Like...
Just make a big glowy
I
friend.
am now shiny.
Just like lights on fire. I am the Dread Pirate Roberts.
He would fail every stealth roll. He already
would-
is loud and
Okay, see, the trick with that, though, is when you have a hulking man walking and made out of fire, he fails the stealth rolls. He passes the intimidation checks to make people pretend he passes stealth rolls.
And also to be fair, he's already getting disadvantage on stuff from his armor. It can't actually get any worse.
This
The
is
check is exactly the same if he's on
Oh,
fire.
I can absolutely make an exception to make it worse.
I was about to say,
Damn it, I was gonna say you never say that in front of the DM, you guys.
our DM
I
applies
was mainly
the
saying it as a
common sense
joke. I
rule.
wasn't being serious.
So the only items that Alloy has on him are, he obviously has his there's like disguise robes, his magic circlet that gives him a little bit more AC, and then a bar of granola. Those are the only items
Flaming
Alloy has
bar
on
of
him.
granola. Granola!
there's
I got a new hunter token, didn't I?
You do, yes. You have the iron one that. Or no, I believe it was carved from sterling silver that that they gave you.
I was just trying to think. If I take, acquire a bit of string from somewhere, I could string up another one to run around, just hang around Alloy's neck to be lit up. Because I have the old one still.
Because ideally, we just, and that's all it is. It's just a pendant he can basically like tuck underneath his armor to show that it doesn't glow all the time. And then it's like, oh look, it's nighttime, we need to fight. Just pull it out and drop it so that it becomes that torch when he needs it to, and it doesn't take up a hand. Because the only other solution I could think of was like, hey, if he uses like a sword or whatever, and it goes into a sheath, I could theoretically enchant the sword, like the blade of the sword, so that when it's in the sheath, it'd be smothered, but when he took it out, it would glow.
Would the great sword have a sheath, or is it just like some other kind of system of carrying it around?
Use the sheath on your back.
Considering the size of it, there isn't a sheath that it fully sits into. There is sort of like a half scabbard that attaches to your back.
Yeah, because it usually only covers like the center portion of the blade, so that wouldn't work anyway.
Yeah. Typically, swords of that size had like something that would sheathe fully the top like maybe 6 to 12 inches of the blade on the tip, and then the rest of the sheath would be open, so that all you needed to do was pull it up that distance, and then you could twist and pull the blade out sideways from the rest of the way in the scabbard.
Yeah.
So with a bit of hempen rope, which I have, and the token, I'll just make a necklace for him.
Okay. Yeah,
And
I wouldn't even say you have to roll for it. I'm just you put that together.
And
Hell, make it even better. I can give you silk rope because it's stronger than the hemp rope.
fair enough. I don't really need it, but it's a old memento that I wouldn't mind not losing.
Well, the goal is not to lose this anyway. It's for it to stay with Alloy and be useful. So,
but yes.
Are you gonna put the hunter's token on the silk rope and wrap that around Alloy's neck?
Yeah, I'll put the old one, which I still have.
Okay.
And create a hanging medallion, and we'll give it to Quad.
Cool.
Or give it to Alloy. While I keep I keep the new one that says I'm higher rank than him.
Okay. We need to do one thing to this ruby before we do this. We need to smash it.
Why?
Ruby dust worth 50 gold.
Yeah.
That
it needs some material components sometimes need the dust of an item rather than the actual item itself.
To be fair, with the group we have and the amount of weaponry we have, we could absolutely just bludgeon a ruby into dust.
Yeah.
Just be to be fair, this is a thing first.
Yeah. It's ruby dust worth at least 50 GP, and it lasts until it's dispelled. So it's pretty much permanent.
Yep.
It's only second level evocation spell. That's actually not bad.
No.
Yeah.
So can we assume we just grab a ration bar, just smash the ruby into dust?
You find a stone outside that you can use to smash it.
I use the granola bar to smash it.
My money's on the granola anyway.
Yeah, you fucking it smashes through the ruby, and the granola bar is perfectly fine.
Oh, sweet. Is it ruby flavor now?
Ruby flavored.
Tastes like red.
Yeah.
Nom 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 nom.
Okay, so then I will.
Tastes like burning.
It tastes like burning.
So I will burn the spell slot to cast Continual Flame on said amulet, specifically in the amulet portion of it.
So
that way they roll different.
I'm sorry. I just want to double check.
Yeah.
You said we had a ruby worth 50 gold piece, and then we had a larger red ruby that contains a fire elemental.
That's correct. Yes. You have a large red corundum.
Well, rubies are.
I'm carrying that, right?
Rubies are corundums.
Yeah.
Rubies,
Well, they're in the same family.
They're made of the mineral corundum.
Yeah.
Corundum's a mineral, ruby's a gemstone.
And that's the thing is that rubies fall within rubies are corundums, but not all corundums are rubies.
Yes, they're composed of similar matter.
It's a broader explanation, and yes, you were very careful not to try and smash the giant red gem containing an angry fire spirit on a rock outside in order to create a fun spell for your friend.
We should perhaps talk to the king about seeing if we can find a way to release this guy and let him run free and happy.
That is
we
certainly
wait
a thing.
long
Actually, Drakiar, you would know that these gems don't necessarily imprison. Well, it is kind of a prison, but it is also sort of like a stasis. So while the elemental is in there, they're not necessarily conscious. But when you activate it, it acts as a summon elemental spell and brings forth a large fire elemental. Though you do know that holding it, it is certainly bigger than you would remember from the books that you read about it in.
No, that's just like now that makes me worried about how dangerous this thing is.
You worry about how dangerous it is. I worry about how we're going to launch it into our enemies with a slingshot, and then run.
Yeah, like when you activate it, the conjure elemental spell is like anywhere within 90 feet of you, so you can like activate it and then the energy will jump out. You don't have to throw it, though
No,
you
we
can
run.
if you want. Like, but you know that like by itself, the large red gem that contains the fire elemental on its own, without the elemental inside of it, this thing would be inert by itself, worth about 400 gold pieces.
Nice.
Like it is
We're not
bigger than
selling
your
an
fist.
elemental,
Like
though.
it is a big red gem.
Problem
So
is,
it'll be someone else's problem.
no.
Just fucking yeet that into a town. Just like fuck those guys.
Still think we should put it in the bagpipe.
Need
Sell it to a jeweler,
Broken-
and then later, as we're
Broken
leaving the
House's
town,
camp.
the town explodes.
Yeah, fucking
Okay, walk faster now.
walk faster. Walk faster. Walk faster.
Sell it to a blacksmith. It's like, here, we'll trade you a perpetual heating stone that will keep your hearth going for as long as it remains intact, in exchange for nice tarrings. We're not going to tell him that as long as it remains intact, it's about 4 seconds.
Yeah. So. And yes, that's correct. Mercenary Pen. Sapphires are also technically corundums.
And we look over to our right, we see the Empire of the Light. Someone yeeted the sword, and now it's on fire. Oh no, time to run.
I also grabbed the leather journal that we got. Is there anything?
Yes.
And
Which?
kind of peruse
Where
it.
did you get that from again? Remind me.
Ogun.
From Ogun. Yes.
Yeah.
You did find that leather journal. Where within Ogun did you find it? Did you write that down?
No.
No. That's okay, because there's only really about 2 places you could have written it down, or at least 2 different places where that could have come from, in which case, then, the journal that you find is the personal journal of Kara, Shark of the Volcanoes. The demon individual that you guys fought and banished to some level of hell when she fell into that chasm.
And proceeded
Alright.
to say that, scream at the thing that his followers sucked.
Your moves are weak!
Your followers, whack. Your strats, whack. Me,
Your evil
I'm dead
opposites.
as fuck.
Our
Oh.
Black King, he's tight as fuck!
Like, your evil opposite because Snake's already evil aligned.
Yeah. Snack is evil line. He's also very, very loyal.
I'm.
Point
Your
of
chaotic
fall.
opposite.
I was about to say I don't think I'm gonna hand this journal to Snack because I feel like I'll look away for a minute and then look back and we'll be on fire.
He's gonna be chewing through that like an angry dog if you get it to him. Like, he's gonna go through that like an angry dog goes through some poor kid's homework.
Actually, no. Like, as far as Snack is concerned, he's already dealt with it because at the end of the day, he won. It's to be fair, we won. Banished person back into the realm they're from, and the last thing Snack said before the portal started to close was Cyteris sends his regards.
That is correct. You did say that.
Yeah.
Neck being a fucking shit disturber.
Our Black King is tight as fuck.
Well, that's the A team's problem to worry about next. This time, don't worry about now because
luck,
they're the
A-team.
ones going there.
I hope you have fun with that. You're going up against a pissed demigod.
Bye. So you do have that journal. Did you want to read through it?
Yeah, if we're looking like we're preparing to head out, I'd read through it while keeping watch, kind of thing.
Cool.
Just kind of slowly over time.
Yeah. So as you guys sort of like finish eating your breakfast from the small fire that Drakiar made, and start making your way on the road, getting yourselves sort of moving northways. That works. There we go. Like the weather out now is beautiful, like a stark contrast from the seemingly like grim, awful settings that you guys had been dealing with in previous times. Continual Flame. To clarify, I am taking the fire. Am I taking the fire elemental gems? Says Drakiar.
So nobody stopped you.
Is anyone going to stop Drakiar from taking the large red glowing gem into his personal inventory? Yeah, it doesn't seem like. Is anybody objecting? It's not going in the bagpipes. Yeah, probably not the best to put it in
Why
there.
can't it go in the
This
bag?
thing goes off in transport. I'm the one who's going to take the least amount of damage.
But I wanna.
That would be a silly idea.
But extra power for the bagpipes.
Pipples
gonna
at one
make a
point
how-
says, "Can I put this giant red glowing gem filled with a giant creature of hatred and fire into my flammable explosive device that also makes music?" To which everyone summarily said, "No, that's ridiculous. Stop."
But it could sing with me.
I will find a way to enchant your bad pipes later.
I mean, who knows?
That's
If you can
fine.
convince the fire elemental that's in the gem to hang out with you guys after you release it, that's entirely its own thing. But
Yeah, we could just have another party member.
Like Hal's Moving Castle.
kind of, yeah. Could be your own calcifer.
Only it could have been the bagpipes instead of in a fire.
It's like Howl's Moving Castle, except more murder.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never seen that movie. I don't know if there's murder in it or not.
I'm
I mean,
turnip
there's-
head.
A world war in that movie, so there's a lot of murder. Isn't
Do
there?
fire elementals speak Abyssal?
No. Fire elementals speak their own language, specifically from the fire plane known as Ingen.
Oh, I was gonna say, is it Ifrit?
Yeah. They speak specifically Ingen, which is a free language that you get if you're a fire genasi. Wildly enough. Yeah, like you it's pretty cool. So yes, you do have that gem now with you, Drakiar. You can put that in your inventory. And Talrand, you're sort of, as you guys are riding north throughout the day, you're sort of sitting there reading through the journal. You can see that the journal makes a lot of mentions of like their work at the compound, like the intake and the outtake, and some of the guards that were problems and had to be dealt with, and some of the other people that were brought in as merchandise that were sold off that were of interest. Some of them that were coming in that were deemed to be extremely potent, like they had a lot of personal strength or they were very powerful individuals themselves, instead of being sold off to keep the operation running with that money, they diverted those individuals to who she refers to as her lord. At only one point in time does she specifically name the underlord to whom she served, Chaturga, but she also at one point in the same sentence refers to it as Legion.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Do you want me to spell out Chaturga for you?
Chaturga, and in the same sentence referred to it as her legion?
In the same sentence referred to her underlord, Chaturga, I'll put that in the chat there so you can see it, also referred to in the same sort of sentence referred to them as Legion.
Oh, as in Chaturga is Legion.
Yes. So Chaturga is also called Legion.
I'm sorry, I thought you were saying they were Legion. I'm like, wait, Chaturga is her Legion? A Legion? Though?
Yeah. It's just a name that she also uses to refer to her underlord.
Yes, I wasn't certain if you were saying like it was also somehow subservient to Kara, which is how I was misparsing it. I was parsing for it weirdly.
Yeah, no, because it's a weird name to have, because it is in reference to a large number of folk.
I mean,
but yeah,
one of my favorite characters ever is named Legion, so
yeah, and they cast any of these like powerful individuals into the massive scar that was underneath that compound that you guys found them in, that seemed to go down into some infernal level of hell. And they just throw them in there, apparently, and her underlord then takes them and repurposes them for their own uses, either blessing them, as she says it, with their underlord's power, which you surmise transforms them into some of these horrific creatures that have been attacking the town, or also transforms them into large, awful, demonic monsters, but then keeps them somewhere. Yeah, Matthew 8:28 to 34. Hey, Snack, what you got there? The fire gem. No!
The two people you don't give the fire gem to, Snack and Piff. For two completely different reasons.
Very two different reasons. A Snack, you're like, Snack, what do you... Snack, tell me what you're going to do.
I need to find an underlord. I need to eat this at them.
God damn it, Snack.
Yeet!
Piffles is like, I want to cook dinner. What do you need the fire elemental for? I want to cook dinner.
I want to make food.
I will make you a fire. Do not use the fire elemental for cooking dinner. Oh dear God, no.
But he might teach us spicy food.
No, Snack, don't use it on that, Underlord! That one will win the fire!
What?
Rainer, you're coming through a little bit muffled there.
Yeah, I didn't hear that.
Oh, I'm getting it.
Just making a joke, so... Nothing worth repeating.
Don't worry about
Well,
it.
I was gonna say, you're making a joke all the way from 95 over there. Is everything alright?
I have no idea what happened there. Might have been Discord. If Doc was hearing me fine, it was probably Discord.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
like I said, you just transferred yourself to instant messenger there for a second.
That's okay. Like Mr. Classic Magic in the chat. It's like, hey, elemental friend, how do you like your food? And instead of extra crispy, it's going to be something like, like, in response. So just keep that one in mind.
See, I just chuck granola at it while it's roaring and hope it enjoy.
How did you tame the fire elemental? We fed it granola.
We fed it.
It likes the goblin.
Drakiar, if you want to roll me, you know what? I'll let you carry the 23 Arcana because that was a sick roll. And I'm a kind and benevolent DM that's just excited to share things with my players. You would know that elementals, very typically, on the lowest form, like lesser elementals, don't even talk. Like, not even in their own language. They mostly communicate through emotions in a way that a lot of other mortal sentient beings kind of just don't understand. It's a kind of like language or body language that is just really lost in translation to other species. Like, they can sort of communicate directly through their emotions to another being. And each of the different elemental planes are really representative of certain specific kinds of emotions. Like the fire realm is really representative of things like hatred and passionate love. The earth elementals are really representative of like stubbornness and sort of stalwart patience and so on and so forth. The higher elementals, though, not only speak, but some higher elementals actually can speak common. and multiple other languages. They're very intelligent, they're very articulate, though they can be very difficult to communicate with because they are so very intense depending on the one that you find. That in sort of like middling to greater elementals, not only can they communicate, but there's like varying degrees of how much they even care to talk to you, and or what they will say if they can do so.
All right.
And yeah, in my experience, there are kind of two sorts of DMs. There are DMs that will put stuff on the table and be like, roll to see if you figure it out, and if you don't figure it out, then you don't figure it out, and that's fine. There are also DMs like myself that will sort of like, make people do a roll to see if they know something, or let people carry a roll if it was good, and, move things forward because I have a whole bunch of shit that I really want to share with people.
You built this world, now you want everyone to know about it.
I spend all this, like, effort making all this stuff. I would like so very much to share it. There's still loads of stuff that, like, both parties are yet to figure out, so, like, lots to discover still, obviously, but, like...
I would be surprised if we had managed to scratch past the surface.
Oh yeah, there's tons of shit still going on. Anyway, so yes, reading through the journal, you find that, like, this is how Kara referred to the Underlord to whom she served, and sort of the operation beneath the slave trade that they had going on, which was just funding them feeding powerful individuals that they were capturing to their Underlord.
Interesting. Like, any names or anything I can work on past that, like anyone of their contacts outside?
A lot of the people that they were working with, you don't recognize their names, because it appears as though, at least, like, looking through the names and the different contacts that they have, it does not interact with any of the networks to whom you're familiar. So, like, the Hunters Guild was never contacted for this kind of stuff, despite the fact that these guys also tried to capture monstrous beings. The Hunters Guild that you used to be a part of when you were alive either wanted no part in this or were just left out entirely. They didn't contact these people, and they're not a part of the slave trade.
I was more thinking of a potential hit list of, if I ever come across, Joe Schmuck, and I find that Joe Schmuck is on a list of registered slave traders within this book, but he's, some noble in a town, and it's like, oh hey, welcome to town, run by Joe Schmuck. We're burning this town to the ground.
Yeah, you know what? You can make a list of the different contacts whom she mentions by name in the book. And if you come across that individual, like if that name comes up, I will tell you.
Okay,
I'll be like,
make that list.
This is a name that was on your fucking to kill list, like, of people who are involved as contacts in a slave trade.
I also make sure the rest of the party is a list.
Make copies and hand it out to everybody.
Here, everyone, I've been going over some paperwork. Here's our list.
Dracula commits the lists of memory.
List of people that we need to set on fire if we should encounter them. Piffles, I expect you to run wild with anyone you encounter on this list.
Okay.
You are free to turn them into jerky.
Sweet, I'm low.
Next,
I
just
repeat their names when I fall asleep every night.
at being told, at the understanding that Snake is not supposed to hold back if he encounters these people, his eyes just go wide, but he says nothing.
We have unleashed hell.
Get that big look on his face.
For all intents and purposes, Telrind understands a lunatic offering things to a god that demands it of them.
Yeah.
Talrand doesn't tolerate people who do it for profit or personal gain. Personal
gain.
I was going to say gain, but personal
enjoyment.
Enjoyments. Yes.
Yeah. People that just do it for the thrill.
Like,
because
why are
they're
these
just in
people
it for the thrill of the game.
Why are these people dealing in slaves? Because they can. Because they can use these people, not because their deity god demands it of them.
Yeah.
But because they can.
Now,
and that makes it worse in Talrand's opinion.
And that is 100% fine. You do know in the book, as you're reading through it, actually, that is a very good point, and I'm glad you brought that up. A lot of the rest of the slave trade sort of guild that they had there under that compound, almost no one was aware of what they were doing down there. That everybody just thought it was just, it was all above board, that they were just trading monsters, that they were enslaving people and selling them off to, expensive collectors or other people that just wanted to have them for whatever reason, or if they wanted to take one home so that they could release it into the woods and then go hunt it for sport or whatever. That was all stuff that they did. And every time one of the more, powerful entities that was captured and brought in just sort of disappeared, it was like she would just tell them that like an exclusive buyer would pick up this person, and then that was it. That like it wasn't mentioned to anybody, and that, the buyer wanted to remain anonymous for their own sake. And yeah, and that was it. She did also have a human disguise that she used when she interacted with people outside of that, like, special basement area. There is also mention at one point of one of the other slave traders coming down there when they were not invited, accidentally stumbling upon their little thing, seeing Kara in her true form, and being thrown into the chasm as a result.
What happened to Bob? He did something he should. He walked into my room when I was in inappropriate dress.
Anybody seen Bob lately? No? Yeah, that's because Bob went down those stairs over there without asking permission first. So don't go down there, and you won't die. How's that sound? Everybody cool with that?
It's a cutie!
You don't come into my rooms without permission. Yeah. Bob learned this the hard way.
Bob learned that the hard way. Bob's now dead. So I'm not going to tell you how Bob fell into a fucking scar into another hell dimension and got, like, just fucking dead 6 ways from Sunday, and that's the end of Bob now.
All you guys need to know is that Bob's now dead. Don't go in my room. Yeah. I don't know how to make this more clear.
Except the last group of people to go down there threw her into the scar instead.
Yep. Y'all dumped her into that thing. Fucking dunked her shit down into there. And fought some succubi while you were down there as well, from what
I sent some confusing messages to Chaturga. One of us was trying to rain on his parade, and the other one was saying, "But look how gracious we're being by not shooting your minion."
Bitch.
I love the whole Self-Tyrus sends his regards.
Yeah, and then you hear some fucking awful noise, and then the scar shuts. But yeah, so that's the information you get from the book.
Did we accidentally a war?
Oh, you'll only find out that, Lancer, later.
We'll find out ourselves. It's like the A-Team figures that out, and we never get the information from them.
Oh, yeah, God, what am I doing? That reminds me, for, like, ever, I hadn't muted the one tab there like I was supposed to, so the music was doubling up a little bit on the stream. That's okay, still sounds good.
You say this because I would hesitate at the idea of causing a holy war in the name of the king.
We're already in one holy war. Starting 2 more is not a great idea.
Sneck is already 100% the guy to do that.
We're already probably starting another one. A 3rd one is also not good.
I gotta tell you guys, this one kobold, he's Deus Volt as fuck. All right. So as you guys continue to travel along, the weather's still extremely favorable. Only like 1 or 2 clouds in the sky, just beautiful sunlight. Is there anything else you guys want to do while traveling? And also, do you guys travel directly through Allura, or do you try to find another road so that you can cross by?
I think we try to find another road.
Yeah, we don't want to go through town. Not again. Not after last time.
Yeah. The last town we were in, it wasn't exactly a great reception. Roll me a perception.
All
someone is-
over.
Nat 20.
Nat
For a
20.
total of 25.
Damn.
I'd be
Sweet
inside the carriage.
16.
Snack sees
Oh,
shit all.
I
I'm
don't
inside the
get-
carriage.
Anything.
Piffle-
I think you're distracted. I think you're distracted with something.
Piffles
Always.
has figured out how to blow some pretty cool looking bubbles and do some other like mouth tricks with the weird old bubble gum that she found in like the town of Deora that you guys had left recently.
I'm putting dandelions in the gum for extra crunch.
Oh, God.
Gross.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it tastes like old bubble gum and dandelions. Which I
And
mean,
I love it.
if you're into it, then you're into it. Like just
Oh,
putting the
I'm
heads
so
in there.
into it.
Yeah, it turns from like an old sort of washed out pink to like an off yellow color as you do that. It turns your lips yellow, and yeah, you're able to blow the bubbles you're blowing in it aren't as big because there's now like dandelion shit mixed into it, but you're still able to do some other fun things with the bubble gum.
If you just wanted dandelion wine flavored gum, why did you just say so?
This is tastier and there's crunch now.
It does keep its crunch for a lot longer than you'd expect, so that works.
The dandelions has crunch.
Now,
Crunch.
as you guys are going along,
come back to find Piffs that has gotten herself stuck to the roof of the carriage and can't get down.
Esteban, your character Talrand actually sitting on top of the carriage, keeping like a solid eye out. You do see actually, and you alert Alloy that there is like just in the grass itself, like a rut where you can see the carriages sort of like went off, and in the distance you can see that it kind of like goes along the edges of the farm fields and goes around them, as opposed to taking the main road, which is now turning into a cobblestone into town, where like, because you know from the map that the road just goes through the town and then continues north, but there is, you found sort of like a side road that is taken so infrequently that it is not actually even worn down to dirt. It's just like divots in the grass. But you got a natural 20, you clever bitch, so you get to go that way.
Talrand sees forever.
I'm going to say, I was like, this area looks familiar. I remember there's a path here. It might have been used in the last century. Maybe.
It's like a little side road for people that just want to take their wagons around the town that don't want to go through the town for whatever reason. Either because they're bringing illicit goods or because they just don't want to talk to the fucking locals. There is a road there. And again, like, the road south out of Allura isn't used very often because there's only the southeastern road that leads into the capital and then the road north to where you guys are going. Going back to the map here, yeah, like there is sort of a worn-off road that does go from Allura to Egress that's not as worn down, but you do find there's like a little sideways place that you get through without having to go in that direction. And yeah, you guys definitely avoid a lot of people. As you guys are going along, Esteban, you do see, as you're sort of getting off the road into the grass area, like the carriage wobbles a lot, but like it is of masterful quality, so like the sort of shocks and stuff that are built into it take the brunt of the uneven terrain that you guys are on. It takes you a little bit longer because it's uneven terrain and it's a little lumpy in certain areas, but you do manage your way around. Occasionally, a farmer working their field will see you and offer you like a wave in the distance.
I would wave back.
And they nod at you and then keep, you know, digging through the dirt and stuff like that. Of all of the people in Allura, you only see, running the farms, you only see humans and, like, one dwarf.
That's not super surprising.
Yeah. And then you guys manage to just get to sort of the northeastern side of Allura before night falls again. Actually, no, I'm going to say that you just get traveling from there to there would be about a day. And if you're traveling slower due to running around that, just as the sun's going down, you do come across the main road that goes from Allura into the capital. There are a lot of other carriages that are moving across it perpendicular. People either bringing goods in or out of the capital itself.
Unless if anyone has any real complaints, I say we continue going north for at least a few hours. Get by and through this, away from this road as much as possible.
I'm fine with that.
Makes sense.
Yeah, as the sun's going down, you, as it's just hitting the horizon and it's this, just gorgeous twilight, there are a lot of people still sort of making their way along the road back into Allura, and you do see that as you're making your way along, that a lot of people, as you cross the road perpendicular to the rest of the travelers, they stop, and there's a couple of people that are, really in awe of what they're seeing here, being a very fancy carriage crossing the road with a couple of very nice horses and a fully armored driver and then another person perched on top.
I was about to say very, very clearly a ranger sitting on top,
that's
alert,
and typically a driver will not be as armored as Alloy is.
No.
Heavy bodyguards.
Yeah.
This is the carriage of somebody important.
Yeah.
Seeing an archer on top of a carriage is probably not that uncommon.
Yeah. Of all the people that have stopped on the road to give you guys a berth as you pass across the road back into the grass again, there's one of the peasants that's out there does the Neil deGrasse Tyson, we got a badass over here pose, puts his hands up oh shit, legitimately there is a large heavily armored guard driving the carriage, and then another sharpshooter apparently sitting on top of the carriage as well. So whoever's in there with the curtains fully drawn, whoever's in there must be important.
If any of them catch my eye when they pause, I give the nod of thanks for letting us pass without problems.
Yeah, no, they definitely give you a nod back. One of the peasants even verbally is yep, you got it. Just don't want any trouble. No, we're not a threat. We are just nobodies. We're just peasants. Please don't shoot me. Yeah, and then you guys cross into the grass and manage to get yourselves just a little ways out of sight, over a small hill or a lump of sorts to get that road out of view before the sun finishes settings, and you're now in the dark.
That's going to generate some info for the rumor mill.
Yeah, well, I mean, a couple people saw you pass by, and you were definitely taken off the main road, so, that's something someone's going to talk about, but it's just going to be words amongst peasant folk.
The words of the peasants say they saw a noble, somewhere on the road. Oh.
They're, crossing perpendicular to the main road, and some other people saw them driving around the outside of their farm fields, and so it's okay. All right. It's like seeing a Mercedes-Benz take a small back road through the country, and there's someone shit, watching a multi-million-dollar car just drive by and wave at you as it goes past, and you're hi. I saw a fucking Mercedes out there the other day. Shit.
Mercedes with a military escort.
Yeah. With with a military escort driving on either side of it, fucking Hummers. That's the equivalent of not so much a Mercedes as a Lamborghini. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
Just reminds me of that one TikTok. People are just working away minutes around it. Is that a Supra?
Don't take the Lamborghini, sir. Yeah. But yeah, you guys find yourselves eventually to a quiet place in a field just off the road, and pull yourselves up for the evening. This is a very big picture. I'm gonna just resize that for the folks at home. Here we go. Bam. If I press that, there we go. And there you go. So now, yeah, the nighttime comes. You guys have just passed over that that one road, and you find yourselves now sitting comfortable in the middle of the field. The cool night air brushing over you, and not necessarily a full moon, but it's on its way back up to full at this point. Well, actually, no, it'd be like half at this point. It'd be like a crescent. It's only
Are
been
we
a few-
waning?
It'd be waning at this point. It'd be on its way to a fully darkened moon because it's been a couple of nights since the full moon. So yeah, you'd be waning at this point.
Winning goodness.
I don't think I've ever been quite so sick of full moons before.
It's just one of those and now we're all gonna keep track of the moon cycles forever.
Hyper aware of this.
We are all going to never not pay attention to that.
The first time it pops up in a campaign, the moon's phase becomes important in the campaign, you keep a constant eye on it for the rest of the campaign afterwards.
Oh yeah, there are players out there that use Druidcraft to do things like predict what the weather is going to be the next day, and everything else. And it's well, a lot of DMs are going to be well, who fucking cares? It's just the weather. And it's well, is it going to be raining? Is it going to be, this and this? Is it going to snow? Is it going to be windy? Is it going to be a clear day? Because they would then start planning their moon. Thank you, Quad.
No, not me.
That's not you?
Nope.
Somebody wrote it in red to try and frame you.
Wait.
It's me because I didn't think my color would show up.
Now where do we have? Is it? No, not that. Nope.
All right, that one was me.
Alloy was here. Yeah, there you go. There it is, Duskwood. Bam. So yeah, as you guys pull up and sort of get yourselves parked for the night, the horses are let off of the carriage and put on leads so that they can kind of wander around and eat the grass. And the vampire daughter that you guys have with you, Arami, she gets out of the carriage and sort of stretches her legs and walks around a little bit. What do you guys get up to?
I, for the most part, stay on watch, but try to spend some time with Arami and try to recount, her time while I was dead, for the most part.
Yeah.
I might not have done much on a daily basis for a century, but not much on every day for a century adds up to a lot.
Yeah. She does sort of reminisce about the time that you guys spent together in that cabin in the woods when you were raising her, and about how the vampires that you had in sort of been reaching out to, the people that were going to come and contact her, were in fact from Automath. And that for some reason, when you gave your life to protect her, at the hand of the Empire's Inquisitors, when she fled into the woods, she was found by the members of the sort of vampiric group in Automath who were fleeing. Who were leaving Automath, and had picked her up from there. And so the people that were coming from Automath to get her and to get you found that she had been absconded with and that you were dead.
I'm still mildly curious why it took a century before I was resurrected.
She shrugs. Honestly, she has no idea.
But that might be a question for the king, for he may know more.
She was like, yeah, maybe. But yeah, like that was a long time ago, and she says that since then they brought her to Alderth. They traveled under the cover of darkness, and every day, the time that the sun was coming up, they used spells like mold earth to like basically dig themselves little impromptu graves and cover themselves because they don't breathe. So they would just bury themselves every morning and wait until the sun would go down and then dig themselves back up and then continue their travel. And that it was really difficult making the journey, but eventually they did get there, and they were welcomed with open arms by Lord Waycrest, and that like they brought them into the huge manor, and that everything was going to be fine, and that there was this big like religion that everybody was getting into, and that there was all of this like long sort of plan that they were making and to make a better life for them. But honestly, she said that a lot of that stuff wasn't told to her directly. It was just like little snippets of conversation that she'd pick up every now and then, because it was told that it was something that she wasn't supposed to know yet, that like they would reveal this to her at a time once things were already in motion. And that, in fact, when you guys showed up was around the time they were about to sort of bring her into the fold, so to speak.
Well, I'm glad you never really got brought into that fold, because as it turns out, they were kind of a not great fold.
And she kind of nods, like the recount of your guys' time in the Waycrest Manor, we'll say, was sort of talked about amongst your group while you guys were in transit between her and Sneck and Drakiar and Caleb as you guys were all in the carriage, sort of traveling. You guys talked to her about it, and she says that she had no idea, honestly, that like she knew that they were up to some stuff in the basement, and that like servants would go missing, and we were told not to worry about it because they were considered lesser, not just as servants, but like just lesser beings in general.
Considered cattle.
Yeah, like basically that they were cattle, and it was something that she accepted but never sat well with her.
I would generally say, so long as they're innocent, they're not lesser.
And she nods to that, yeah. Like she likes the idea that that like you judge a person by their actions, not by what they are. That what they are can inform sometimes of how they might behave, but you typically like try your best to offer someone the opportunity to do well, because there were on occasions some servants that she did have the joy of talking to, but then those people would eventually disappear, and then she wouldn't have anyone to talk to anymore, and some of the servants were afraid to speak to her after that. At least for a time, until those people also disappeared, and then new people would come in and they wouldn't know any better.
Yeah, I don't know about all of the people they source their blood from when we get to Automath, but I'm pretty sure the king doesn't allow innocent farming.
The farming of the innocent. Acolyte's neck climbs on top of the wagon and peers out into the darkness, keeping watch while Tauren is busy chatting with his daughter. Yeah, Sneck, if you want to roll perception for me. 15. Yeah,
Right.
no, like you've got a pretty good, like it's a clear sky and the moon's still like mostly full, so you've got like a pretty good watch on the land
because
around you.
I have dark vision. I needed to make that joke at least once.
I have dark vision.
Do you want Alloy to also make rolls, since he's probably just patrolling around the camp?
Yeah, if you want to say you're on patrol, roll me perception. 20. Despite the fact that it's dark, like you've got a pretty like solid clear watch, and like you're looking for just any fucking movement in the grass that seems to not be based on the wind or anything like that. Like you're you're sharp as a fucking whip out there. But yeah, your daughter talks excitedly about the notion of eventually making it finally to Autometh after all this time, and like, you know, meeting the king, who Sneck won't shut up about, and like talking to other people in the kingdom and seeing more of what she considers to be like her people that aren't from the Waycrest Manor and aren't of that sort of that school of thought.
Well, you'll be able to talk to a lot of people. A lot of them have different opinions on some things. The orcs do tend to favor, you know, some strength, but they can respect just about anyone.
Yeah, she does get generally the feeling that this is an impossibility. Like, all of these different peoples and all of these different races living in proximity in a single kingdom seems to be impossible. Like, it's strange that they wouldn't just kill each other over, you know, someone eating someone else's apple or something like that. Like, that she was always taught that these people were far and beyond like the ability of reason.
I'm so proud of you that when faced with what you're told is an impossibility, your response is to go, "Can I see it? This sounds wonderful," rather than denying it.
And that's the thing. Like, you definitely get the impression that like being in sort of locked away within the Waycrest Manor for so long has over the years filled her with this like deep, almost insatiable curiosity about the world, and that she has been taught things, but like the only things that she's been taught has been through the lens of the Manor Waycrest. So like, you know, her skills with a rapier and fencing and stuff like that was something that was taught to her, and is like her stance and everything are extremely professional, that you've seen, and like all of the knowledge that she has about the world is all what the vampires think the world is like, and perhaps not exactly what the world is like, right? Like, all information is cast through a lens of bias.
And if she, I mean, I could directly inform her that I plan to support her in her, you know, it's like, well, when we get there, you know, I'll see if the king can let you into it, and we can get you into the king's libraries, give you a chance to read those through, meet all the people. Goober is hilarious.
I will pay for your college tuition.
I have no idea what
What does Talrin think of his daughter hanging out at a vampire brothel?
It is a soup kitchen, a vampire soup kitchen, not a brothel. Thank you very much.
That's what everyone thinks.
But it's very clearly a brothel. It's a soup kitchen.
Wow.
I believe I've also promised to Goober to go visit the vampire brothel wearing a fancy woman's dress at some point.
Oh, that you would wear a fancy woman's dress to go to the brothel?
He said he wanted to go wearing it, and he didn't want to go alone. And I said, you know what, Goober, I'd go with you.
Goober.
Goober wanted to dress up in a fancy silk dress and go hang out with the vampires, even though Goober is a goblin and runs a garbage store.
Where do you think he's gonna get more garbage from? The vampires might have garbage he wants. Come on now, it's Goober.
But yeah,
I'm just going to show up to visit my daughter at one point, and there'll be me and Goober in silk dresses, and she's just going to go, okay.
Okay. Arami is terribly curious about the vampires that live in Autometh, like what their view on this religion of the death god is, and like how they feel about the rest of the world and how they view the other races of the kingdom.
I think I'd be like to be there for that discussion. I feel like it will probably be relatively positive because they kicked out the vampires that held the extreme xenophobic views.
Yeah.
So, but I'd also like to know what they plan on teaching my daughter. So I want to be there for that.
I will be present for your education.
Well, it's like what? learning maths and sciences is one thing. Learning cultural impressions on, letting a teacher, color a student's perceptions on different races and other peoples is something a parent needs to be aware of.
Definitely when it's taking place within a brothel.
I'm gonna have to shoot Drek here at some point every time.
Stop catching.
But like
it's a soup kitchen. I don't know if it's Jesus.
Well, like, yeah, no, a parent doesn't like letting what's the statement? An idiot is raised by a community. It's not just the parent's fault.
Yeah, it takes a village.
It takes a village to raise an idiot. It takes a village to raise an ignorant as well.
Yeah.
Like, so being aware of what they're being taught, if it's beyond just hard fact sciences and languages and things like that, is an important part of being a parent.
Yeah, not one.
Mm-hmm. And while, like, she is excited to learn all this stuff and to, like, see these people and to see the archives and the library and potentially meet the king, and she does want you to be there for a lot of that because she both missed you for all that time when she assumed you're dead, and on top of that, like, your group of random monsters that are traveling through the countryside who burned down her previous parents' house are a far cry from, like, what she's used to as people. Like, you guys definitely treat her more as an equal, and actually talk to her about things and tell her things, and she finds that very refreshing.
I'm not super concerned about how she'll react, because I'm pretty sure if somebody comes up and one of the vampires comes up and says, "Hey, did you know that all of those undead are secretly abomination?"
Yeah.
Where did this knife in my gut come from? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you over you spouting something stupid. Did you want to try that again?
I didn't hear you over the sound of your own heresy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's relatively on the right track, because she faced the xenophobia and was like, but I'm just curious instead.
Yeah.
Which is a good sign. But, paranoia.
Can't be much heresy in Tonberry's soup kitchen.
And yeah. And so, is there anything else you guys wanted to do with the rest of your evening?
Nah.
Okay. Let's have a look.
Dracula is just writing down his memoirs.
Okay. Okay. And you had a 20 perception, and you had a 15. Okay.
When the DM starts rolling.
When I'm done walking with daughter, I do go back on watch.
Of course, yeah. No, she spends the rest of the night, like, awake, and hanging out outside the carriage if possible. She walks over to the horses and, like, gives them pets and feeds them some of the oats that you guys had picked up before you left Alderth. And yeah, no, she just, like, spends the night sort of outside staring up at the moon, or, like, walking around or looking at things, or, like, finding a stick and practicing some of her fencing and just other stuff like that.
You know what?
Sorry, quick side question. Does she know what languages does she know?
Well, you can ask her. If asked, she knows a number of languages, being homeschooled with a royal professional education. She has, like, she knows, like, I would say Common, Dwarven, Elvish. She doesn't know any monstrous languages like Goblinoid or Orcish or Giant. But she does know a few planar languages like Celestial, Infernal, as well as, I'm gonna see, let's see. She knows Terran. the language of earth elementals.
I mean, if it sounds like a lot like a language that most people don't have the rocks in their throat to be able to speak.
Yeah, she does kind of giggle about how it's like something she can understand, but has difficulty emulating that because it is mostly just the sounds of grinding stone. So
how do you speak it? You grab two rocks off the ground and grind them together in specific fashion. Your accent is always going to be terrible.
That is in fact correct. That like the one of the easiest ways to speak Terran is to like find two large specific like stones and grind them in certain ways to sort of get across whatever it is you're trying to communicate to them. But yeah, it was like sort of like a passion that she picked up on the side was learning Terran as like a fun little extra thing.
Be careful when trying to say you have a nice home, and you might accidentally insult their mother instead.
Yep.
Nothing I can teach her there, so never mind that.
No, don't worry about it. What was it you were saying, Planthier?
I was gonna say, do I see her practicing a sword technique with the shtick?
Somewhere in the middle of the night, she's out there with like a long stick, and she's just kind of waving it around and practicing different stances and whatnot. Occasionally, she'll just sort of like swipe at the grass like kids do, but then she'll like try her footing again and then sort of do it and stuff. And she does still have your old rapier on her, so that like she has an actual sword, but she doesn't have it out. She's just using a stick at the time.
All right. I would be interested in trying to spar with her again, but
sure.
I also just kind of want to move in quietly, see if I can sneak up on her, just observe her technique a little.
Roll me stealth.
Okay. Bam.
Yeah. Passively, she doesn't notice you as you're observing her, or at the very least, she doesn't pay you any mind. From like, it's either she can't, she doesn't see you, or she's just not reacting to your presence. But as you can see, like when she does actually like, you know, set her stance and then go through some of the like parry, thrust, twirl, like this, and this, you can see that her form is like a very noble form of fencing. Like, it is duelist fencing, so this is something that people would have in like very structured fight on the line, one-on-one dueling combat. This is the only kind of fencing that nobles and lords and kings and stuff like that would learn. Right. It is very structured. It is very rigid, but you can tell that with her supernatural speed and grace, that she does make it work in a sense, that she is still in that training somewhat proficient.
Okay, after observing a little bit, I'll just finally pipe in. Are you looking for a sparring partner, or are you content with just hitting the grass?
She, like, you know, turns and offers you a bow, and says, certainly, if you'd like to, if you want to find a stick, I don't know if there's another stick, we could practice with those.
Alright, I'll look for another stick.
Yeah, it doesn't take you long. You find, like, another long branch that's serviceable.
In this flat, empty plain with no trees.
Yeah, why not?
Wash up on the no.
It's got good winds.
Oh, dry up. Old-timey insults are some of my favorite stuff. But yeah, so you find another thing. I'm gonna say roll me a reflex save.
Reflex.
So dexterity save. Sorry. I keep speaking in 3.5 terms. I apologize.
Bam.
Okay, cool. Yeah, like you guys, like, you know, lock sticks and clack clack clack, and like your style of fighting with the rapier is sort of a mixture of what is a duelist style that is of nobility, and it's mixed in with like street fighting effectively. Your form is a lot more fluid, a lot more reactionary. The footing is a little different, and you definitely make use of sidestepping a lot more than she's used to. You can see that when she like makes the like paritoral thrust, that you like step to one side and she fully misses you when she does that, and then you can see on her face that she like visibly remembers that you're allowed to step sideways in combat, that people don't just stand on a line like they would in a rapier duel, or in like a fencing duel. So then she'll try to like, you can see that she tries to like sort of copy and mirror some of your movements as you guys continue.
All right. Upon seeing that, it's just okay. Good. You remember that we can move left and right on in a fight. That's good.
And she says it's definitely strange. It's definitely weird to her. Like you're just allowed to like, you're allowed to just duck or like step to the right. Like that's it's something that she's like, right, God, fuck. There's no line drawn on the floor that we have to like stay on. This isn't like a noble's duel. This is two people fighting for their lives, out in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, this is, you know, a completely different world than what she's used to.
All right, and at that point, I'll just also say, but you also have to be prepared to. Well, I'm certain you understand this, but you also have to be prepared to go on the defensive as quickly as the offensive. And after saying that, I'll rush her and go in for a power attack.
Yeah, roll to hit. 21.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you rush in with like your speed and experience, and you manage to like just get around her guard as she defensively attempts to just stab you, to which you like roll your left shoulder, get underneath the stick, and tap her on the top of her bonnet with the stick, and she's like stunned in that moment as that happens. And it's just like, wow. And then she makes a comment about how you're terribly fast for a mortal.
Technically half mortal.
She sort of tilts her head. Goes, explain.
Okay, I thought the blue skin was a dead giveaway. Do you know what genasi are?
I've read about them, yes. She nods.
Ah. Well, I'm what's known as an air genasi.
This is why you are blue all the time. Or
Yep.
like a light blue, and why your hair is always in the waft.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. She
And
gives you like an appraising look and sort of like walks a small circle around you, regarding you a little more closer than she has been for the last like day or so that you've been traveling together. Truthfully, I was not sure if you were different from humans in a conventional sense, in that you were a genasi, or if you were just potentially some other variant of human. I'm told that there are many. I did not want to be rude and pry. The other members of your cohorts are so very obvious in how they make themselves up. There's the draconian and the kobold and my father and the goblin and the fellow in the armor I will need to talk to at some point, I guess. She sort of nods her head a little bit in Alloy's direction.
Who, Alloy?
Yes, he never takes off his armor.
I'll let you in a little secret and just sort of lean in. Beneath that armor is just more armor.
No.
He's a warforged.
Get out.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. She gives you a little shove. Yeah, but she's like, I mean, I've read about them. I've never thought they. I thought they were gone. I thought they were all extinct.
Oh, no. They're still around.
Are there more like him in the kingdom?
I'm not too sure. I've usually just kept to myself for the most part. I know there's a lot of goblins. Quite a few orcs, but as for Warforged, I think he might be one of the first ones down there.
Wow. She looks over in his direction again. So underneath his armor, there's just more metal.
Yep. Metal
Does it
body.
hurt when someone hits his armor?
You know, I don't think so. But then again, it hasn't exactly been something I've tested myself.
Have you ever asked him?
No, I haven't really asked him.
Oh. Because you're friends. I thought you'd ask him.
Truth be told, I thought it would be
Have
kind
fun
of
for.
rude if I did ask him.
That's true. Yeah, it might be rude. You can't just ask somebody why they're white. It's a Mean Girls reference. Yeah. But yeah, she's terribly curious, and so she goes, so then you're part air elemental.
Yes, I am.
Do you know their language?
Well, just quickly looking up to see what sort of languages I do know. It would be Common and Primordial that I would know.
Yes. The Primordial is like is an elemental language that's kind of shared between the planes.
Ah, okay.
That
So you know that.
each have their own dialect, but then there's like a shared language between their species.
All right, and I'll just say the only. I can speak Common and I understand Primordial, but as far as a unique language that the Air Genasi would know.
And she sort of nods and smiles as she goes, Primordial, the elemental version of Common, as I'm told.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, Mr. Classic Magic. You can't just ask someone why they're metal. God.
I mean, even if you did ask, I don't think Alloy actually knows.
Well, either way. Mind you, Air Genasi have another little trick up their sleeve that has saved my skin more times than I care to mention.
Really?
Yep, and it's just if you do want to experience this trick yourself, you would have to get in closer.
She cautiously takes a step towards you.
How far away is she?
She's like right next to you.
Okay. I was just gonna say, all right, you're pretty much gonna have to hug me at this point.
And she sort of like points her stick at the ground and puts both of her hands on top of it and says, "My good sir, Caleb."
I don't know protocol at this.
If I did not, and she like taps the side of your boot with the end of her stick. It's like, if I had not known any better, I would say you're up to something no good.
Well, I am the thief after all.
Talrand from on the roof watching
Talrand
this.
and Snacker glaring at Caleb.
Actively starts coughing.
Suddenly, all Alloy hears is
Grandpa!
Yeah, it's just like, here, come in close and hug me, or not. You can stand however close you want. It's cool. Just the arrow in the back. It's whatever. So she again, like, still with like both her hands sort of resting on the stick, like a bit of a cane. She goes, I think you can show me what you mean.
All right, well, if you insist, in that case, I just take her by the hand and cast levitate on myself to fly, I'd say about 10 feet off the ground, and just bring her up with me.
Oh, goodness. Give me a strength check.
A strength check. Oh, shit.
Athletics, if you want.
Oh, athletics.
Yeah,
where is
it's like
my
a strength
athletics?
check with potential proficiency added to it.
Here it is. With a whole +1. Oh, there I go.
Here I go. Okay. So, you, like, take a hold of her hand and then start levitating up. There is, like, the slightest moment of resistance as you just continue going up and start, like, gripping to pull up her weight with you. And then suddenly she doesn't weigh anything. And she's floating next to you. And she kind of, like, squints at you a little bit, and she goes, "Are you sure you're not a vampire?"
I'm sure I'm not a vampire.
she like flashes you like a playful smile and goes, "Okay." And so you can do this because you are partially of the airplane.
Yes.
Can you just do this at will?
I can do it kind of at will, but I have to rest a little bit afterwards.
Fascinating. She kind of floats around you in a circle again, like kind of getting an appraising look at you at all angles.
Mama?
Interesting. And she'll eventually, like, you know, kind of like grab the sides of her dress and offer you a polite curtsy, and then she floats back down to the ground.
She can do it on her.
Yeah, she's a vampire. She can fly.
Forgot about that shit.
Yeah. She, like, that's the thing, is, like, you, like, were pulling her up, and you could definitely, like, feel her physical weight for, like, a half a second, and then she just flew up with you.
Ah.
She's also not a particularly young vampire either.
No, she's over a century now at this point. She's just over a century old, and she's not as powerful as, like, elder vampires could typically be, them numbering their years somewhere in the multiple centuries to potentially millennia. But she's getting up there, certainly older than any of the younger ones. After your first century, you definitely pass a certain milestone being an undead like this.
Old enough to be very easily be Caleb's mama.
Dear mama,
Don't talk about my mama.
all the food that you left on the plate.
Sorry. Oh, so yeah, that's okay, Piffles. Don't worry about it.
Alright, with that, I'm just gonna come back down to the ground.
Yeah. No, she offers you, like, again, a bow, and she thanks you for, you know, giving her the lesson in swordplay again. And she asks, as you guys continue to travel, if you would like to continue having conversations and, you know, practicing sword fighting and talking about the world.
Caleb smiles and just said, whoop.
Yeah, because of all the people that are in the group, you lived on the surface the longest, or at the very least have the clearest, most recent memory of the surface life.
Alright, with that, Caleb will just smile and say, nothing will make me happier.
And she offers you a smile, and then, yeah, you know, I'm not even going to have you roll for it. I'm just going to say you see this. Like, about 5 or 6 minutes later, as she's sort of continuing to, like, practice by herself with her stick, she looks down into the grass, picks up a rock, and then throws it, and it vanishes into the sky as she throws it. She, like, picks up a little rock, and she's like, oh, cool, and then poof, when it, like, fucking takes off into the distance. And she just kind of giggles a little bit and continues to skip around in the grass as
I
the night
shoot
goes
it
on.
out of the air.
Oh man, roll me a roll to hit. As you take this as an opportunity to, like, skeet shoot the random pebble that your daughter picked up. You know what? I'm gonna say with a 19. I'm gonna allow it. I'm gonna say sure. You don't hit it dead on, but you do clip the side of the rock. As like she picks up like a reasonable sized stone, like something that could fit into your palm. And then when she like throws it, it goes like hard up into the air, and you like let out an arrow, and it clips the side of the rock. You see the arrow clip on it and then tumble off to the one side, and she turns around and like gives you a little clap.
She whipped it toony up into the air, and I didn't hit it dead on, but I clipped it with an arrow.
Yeah, you managed to catch the edge of it. DC on that one was 20. I'll say 19 just catches it on the edge. Because you're shooting a small rock at nighttime while it's moving through the air. That is a hard shot to make.
Where does the rock end up?
I did roll great on it.
Yeah, roll perception if you want to see where it lands. Yeah, you don't see.
I'm too busy writing.
No. Yeah, like, you hear it happen, you look out the window, you don't see where that goes. And yeah, like, even with your dark vision, Talron can't see where the rock landed. It just disappears into the darkness in the distance.
I do a courtesy gesture to the lady, as it were.
Oh yeah, she like she turns to you and again like kind of with her hands like gives you like a little like happy clap. She's like, "Yay! There he is. That's our boy. There he is." Yeah. The rest of the evening passes without incident. And eventually the next daytime rolls around and you guys travel your way, heading to the north and the east towards the town of Egris. And let's get you guys back on the road. Let's go
road again.
Bam. Bam, and we can kill that. Now we'll go this one. Here we go. Yeah. It's like a nice... Here we go, some nice traveling music. So yeah. As you guys continue to travel along, heading north and east, you're met again with just like a beautiful open day. It is just wonderful weather. You see these like wildflowers all over the sides of the road in the grass are just in full bloom.
I keep an eye out for anything edible for piffles.
Yeah, roll me either perception or investigation. Shit. Oh, Jesus Christ. You spot a big patch of purple wildflowers that are good for eating. They don't really have any medicinal qualities, but you know that people do sometimes make little salads out of the petals. You guys pull over for a short minute to gather as many as you deem necessary.
Enough for lunch for anyone who's interested.
Yeah, Kaldaka, I'm gonna say if you guys wanna take another long rest, you can, because you guys had an uneventful night. You guys slept.
Do we pull over to grab these and then Piffles? Do we like, okay, guys, grab as many as you can, and we turn and see Piffles just shoving the handfuls in her mouth?
Yeah, probably.
Mean, yeah. I was gonna say, like, ultimately that really is up to Envy on what Piffles does, but that does sound like Piffles shit. Just like jumps.
Gonna take her giant glob of gum and stick it to one of her ears, and then just start putting other things in her mouth. That's what she does.
Downside of this being over Mike, couldn't turning and looking at Piffles' image.
Yeah, just.
I realize that you guys can't see me looking at people.
Yeah. But yeah, you guys gather up a bunch of these purple wildflowers and then hop into the cart and then make your way along. By the looks of it, just in the afternoon, about like dinner time or so, is when you guys are going to be arriving in Egris. Sorry. Oh, God.
Okay, our plan for Egris. Do we have a plan for Egris? Why? Who are we here for?
Like, we're here because Caleb found a statue that may have something to do with my mom's past in this town. That's all we have.
Do we know what the Shaw is called in Egress?
I believe Silver Shaw did mention to you that if you guys were heading north, and like you told him that you were going to be heading towards Egress, and then you're going to be cutting over towards the town that is now known as Stowport, and picking up the girl from Ebraniel, you were going to be going back to Mithril Shaw to pick up the girl that was there. That he tells you that there is a Shaw inside of Egress, a woman by the name of Iron Shaw.
Hmm.
And how to contact her?
He said that she would find you. That it would be hard for you to get to town, especially in a carriage, without her seeing you.
Yes, but that means that we potentially need to find a place nearby to loiter. Well, let's go in, I guess. Arriving just at night works out.
Yeah, like it's
well.
the afternoon. The sun is setting. It's not on the horizon yet. But as you guys get there, let me see if I can find it. There we go. You do see in the distance the castle walls that surround the sort of main castle town of Egress. As you approach, I just want to also sort of zoom in on this here a little bit for the folks at home. I also specifically colored out that little blob in the sky that had a dragon in it before because there's no dragons
I was
here.
about to ask.
Yeah,
Aww.
I colored that little bit out, so there you go. But yeah,
It occurred to me, between the carriage, the amount of money we have, and the sheer amount of jewels and jewelry we're carrying, we could probably easily pass off as nobles.
oh yeah. So as you guys are pulling up, you're following the road. Oh yeah, no more dragons, sad face. Just written along up there. God damn it.
The Kingdom of Light also reaches here, purging the dragon out of the sky.
Yep. As you guys are going along, you see that there's a number of peasants moving in and around the sort of the homesteads and different sort of lesser dwellings that exist outside the main walls. And as you get up to the walls themselves, you are met by a woman who is standing in the middle of the road. Let's switch this. Actually, no, I can keep this on objects. Who looks about like so. She is wearing extremely ornate plate mail. She has a massive tower shield and what you would expect, especially you, Alloy, to be a two-handed sword, which is on her back. Actually, no, sorry. It is stuck into the ground next to her, and she doesn't seem to be, she doesn't have a hand on it, but it is jammed into the ground next to her. It is a two-handed greatsword, which she appears to wield with one hand. She is nearly 9 feet tall. She has long silver hair and sort of an olive, darker colored skin.
So I'm riding on top of the carriage, and I'm at, a little bit slightly above her line of sight.
Yeah, there are 2 city guards on either side of her at the gates to the castle town proper, who are standing in what appears to be a perpetual state of fear of her presence. Yeah, Mercenary Pen might have a thumb on this. As you guys approach her in the carriage, she looks up at the 2 of you who are riding it, both to Alloy and to Talron, and she calls out, "You're late."
We had a minor stop and an inconvenience, unfortunately.
Roll a not inspection, insight. Talrand and Alloy, roll some insight.
Oh boy.
20. 21!
Roll from that 20.
Oh shit.
I get an 18 and he gets a nat 20. What do we get to know?
Yeah. She is not threatening you. Like, she does not mean you harm. You are both able to tell that despite her stature and the fact that her weapon is out, that she does not mean you harm. She will not attack you. And she sort of like scans over the carriage and then looks between Alloy and Talrand and goes, "Very well. You will bring your carriage along and you will follow me." And one of the guards who's standing off to the side says, "She's been standing there for 2 bloody days." And she immediately, like, this guy spoke, like, just under his breath, but she immediately turns to him and she says, "You will speak when I allow you to speak." And he goes, "Yep, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. My deepest apologies, miss." She, like eyes to the ground, like, backs away from her a little bit. And she just grabs a hold of the great sword, jams it up out of the ground, hoists it over onto her back, and it makes a loud clang as it sets into what appears to be like a hard metal half scabbard that holds it to her back. And then she, like, gestures with her free hand for you to follow her.
Yeah, Alloy, do we follow her?
What? Yeah.
You're the one driving this this crazy machine. I look at the guards and share a, kind of sympathetic nod with them.
They like
If I were playing any other character, there was so many things I could say.
like they
that.
berserk clang dot wave. Yeah. God, did I ever get that sound? I think I didn't. No, I did. I got it as a fucking meme sound, but I didn't put it in to the fucking fantasy sounds for reasons beyond my own understanding. Oh, that's right. I removed it because I was like, I'm never going to use this. But yes. That's your berserk clang. She is carrying a massive two-handed sword that she appears to wield with one hand because looking at her, like, you guys have seen, like, rock trolls and stuff like that, but there aren't a lot of giant folk who live in Autometh. It's possible that she's a half-giant. But yeah, she, like, waves for you guys to follow her and then walks into the town. As you give the guards, like, a sympathetic nod, they nod back to you, carrying, I'm going to say, your 20 and 21 in insight. They are scared for you going into town with this woman, because whoever the fuck you are, and she's been standing there for like a day and a bit waiting for you, it's like they're fucking terrified. So and you can tell as your carriage picks up again, walking into the town, there is like a number of people that give both her and your carriage a wide berth, walking along. Like, most of the people, again, carrying that 20 and 21 in insight, you can see that, like, the majority of people are doing it from respect, but, like, 20% of the people that are getting out of her way are doing it out of an almost legendary amount of fear for her. It is, like, a mixture of reverence and terror that you get from the people that observe her as you guys walk in.
I can't tell who's scarier, her or Mithril Shaw.
Big lady of the Order of Dimitrescu.
One of them you'll see coming, the other one you won't.
Yeah.
It's up to you to decide which one killing you would be more terrifying.
She leads you eventually to a building. Oh, hey, we got ourselves Suspicious Devils rating us with a party of 7. Hey, come on in. Get comfortable.
Raid hype.
Got that raid hype. Yeah, she leads you to a building that is a tavern of some denomination, where there is a place that you can sort of pull your carriage indoors. And there's like a large set of doors that you can close. There's a big space in there for you to like unhitch your horses and bring them over to a water and a feeding trough. Oh, Moravane, thank you for the follow. Come on in, get comfy. Ka-chow! Lightning McQueen isn't real. Lightning McQueen in the distance. I fucked your mom, shit lips.
God damn it.
Sorry.
What did Jonesy get in this campaign?
That caught me off guard.
Lightning
Fuck.
McQueen. Anyway, but yeah, so she leads you into like a large sort of garage that's attached to a large tavern establishment. The tavern, you can see as you guys are pulling up, there is a hanging sign out in front of it, and the name on it is the Iron Bulwark. Or rather, the Bulwark is the name of the tavern. You pull into this like sort of garage area. They close the doors, and she shows you just gestures silently to where you can unhitch your horses and bring them over to a feeding and watering trough, and then motions for you to follow her into a basement that is down below a space.
Proceed to do just that.
Okay.
I do acquire vampire daughter in her coffin, presumably.
Yeah, I mean, it's safe in the space that you're in that she can be out and about because you guys are indoors.
Okay then, not in coffin.
And yeah, as actually
But
roll
the coffin as well.
I'm gonna say roll me perception. Because I'm gonna let you carry the 20 insight, but roll me perception. No, don't. I'm a virgin. Yeah, good
I
for
see
you,
nothing.
Morgan. With a 7, you notice as your daughter gets out of the carriage that the large ironclad woman regards her, stares at her for a moment, and then you guys all continue down the stairs into sort of the cellar area that is down below. When you guys get down there, you can hear the sort of the music and the raucousness of the people, the patrons of the tavern upstairs, sort of muffled in through the floor. But you guys do have down here sort of a fireplace that has been lit and a number of tables and chairs and stuff like that to sit. This appears to be a private quarters for anybody that is being brought down here under the specific direction of this individual who is with you. She then takes a standing stance next to the fire. I'm going to bring her back in here so that we have eyes on Big Lady.
She nearly hitting the
Big,
ceiling.
heavily armored lady.
Standing at between 8.5 to 9 feet tall. She is her head is just under the roof. She has to duck to get under the chandeliers that are hanging there. And she goes over and stands by the fire, where she basically rests her elbow on the top of the hearth. Her shield is also sort of hoisted up onto her back, where it clicks into her armor and then just sits there. Acolyte's next walks to Vampire Lady and remains close to her, half paying attention to Big Lady, but more keeping an eye on the entryways, etc. Yeah, as you guys come in, she then gestures and leads you guys down here, and standing by the fire, sort of leaning on the top of the hearth, she turns to you and says, "I'm sure without a doubt you have realized that I am Iron Shaw."
Pleasure to meet you.
She gives you a stern nod in return.
Yeah, you look like a Shaw.
I think we figured the moment we saw her standing in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get the notion
Hard to
that
miss.
this is what Silvershaw was talking about, that it would be hard for you to get into the town in a carriage without her noticing.
I'm sorry. Does
Damn.
Piffles actually say that you look like a Shaw?
Yeah, I did say that.
Yeah.
Except it's I
Isn't
guess
it-
you assume that I'm Iron Shaw. I'm yeah, you look like a Shaw.
Yeah,
You've never seen a skeleton blink.
she
you're pretty
looks
sure-
down her nose at you.
Piffles sits on the ground, eats another flower, and offers her a flower.
You offer Iron Shaw a flower?
I just hold it up in my little hand and I'm like, you want one?
You know what? Roll me persuasion.
It's gonna buff the roll persuasion.
Oh god, hang on. Yeah!
Okay, that's a 19. Yeah. If anybody wants to roll insight on this, you
I
can.
am small and disarming. Eat my flowers. Bitch.
What do we got? A 16. Okay. Another 16. Sweet 16. We got a 10 and a 9. So, what everybody sees basically is that she hesitates for a minute, reaches down, takes the flower, and then she sticks it behind her ear, in her hair.
Dude, that's my gum. She pulls her gum off her ear and puts it back in her mouth. It's good for saving snacks for later.
She just quietly stares down at you. Esteban and Alloy, you get the notion that she thinks Piffles is really cute. That she does like Piffles, that Piffles is adorable.
Piff scoots forward on her butt so she's in front of the fire and starts toasting her fingies.
Does she have a little bit of the big person surrounded by small people thing, where they're a little bit cautious about doing much because if she was too enthusiastic about grabbing the flower, she could have crushed Piffle's hands.
It wasn't necessarily that she was being careful not to accidentally crush Piffles because she could. You think that there's entirely the possibility she could pick Piffles up in like the palm of her fucking giant hands.
She could probably easily suplex Alloy.
At this height, judging by how strong she is moving her equipment around, you get the impression that she is like definitely of supernatural size and strength. But her hesitation appeared to be in that she thinks Piffles is actually really cute and didn't want to wasn't sure if the this gesture of a flower was like a genuine thing or if this was like a joke or if she was being made fun of.
Yeah, Piffles is used to giant people because she's a goblin from a monster town.
Yeah.
She just offers people snacks because even if people don't like you, they like snacks.
Yeah.
Just make sure you're not the snack.
Well, exactly. Also, disarming until I turn people into turkey.
Alloy just
gotta be adorable
says
and
to
disarming.
Iron Shaw,
Disarming.
"You seem to operate a bit differently than the other Shaws."
And she gives like a hard nod to that and she says like, I don't believe in operating in the shadows. I understand the need for secrecy in certain regards, but I find it distasteful, or at the very least, it is not something that I find myself wildly accustomed to. She shifts in her plate mail a little bit.
Is the woman dressed like a fucking paladin?
Yeah, she looks to be like a walking fortress, and she sort of like, gestures with her head over to Alloy and says, as I'm sure you are also aware, stealth is not befitting of us in our station.
The long-suffering Talrand, no, he's not. He's definitely aware. Pinched brow, nose of no. Alloy is not stealthy.
Yeah, it's just like
Alloy is not stealthy.
Yeah, she says,
Least stealth of friend.
I operate in the open. Some of our operations are considered or kept quiet, but I keep myself in the open and obvious. I am told that, at the very least, in this way, people do not suspect that I am a spy, because I am very present and very seen in all my work. I have others who assist me around town, though, for the quieter things or getting into places where I cannot fit or operating in decorums that I do not care for. Speaking of which, she turns to the vampire daughter who is there and says, may I get you something? A refreshment? Anything? And she nods and says, no, thank you. And she sort of like, Arami kind of like waves her a little bit and bows politely and says, thank you for offering, though, and then takes a seat. And Iron Shaw gives like a nod in return.
You have been waiting for us for 2 days. Are you all right?
And she like looks at you and she says, yes, I am fine. Do I not look all right?
It never hurts to check in on the well-being of our associates. Especially
Indeed.
when they have done a favor for us.
Speaking of which, I am told you have been in contact with Mithril Shaw.
Yes.
How is she?
Last time we checked, good.
Scary, but good.
She well? Is she healthy?
Well, and I'm pretty sure she's amusing herself teaching a smelt child assassination.
Why we did that kid?
A child.
And we left it with her. Oops.
She's teaching a child in her ways of stealth.
Yes, unfortunately, a group of people had targeted this child, and so she was teaching this child how to not be caught by them and how to defend herself from them.
Well, she should.
We rescued her from a really shitty brothel.
Yeah. Brothel, I believe we burned
I
to the
see.
ground.
We did
pretty
burn
sure
that
we-
to the ground. My
pretty
bagpipes
sure we-
helped.
Pretty sure we burned it to the ground. It seems like it was 2 years ago. It seems like it's been forever.
Seems like it was a long ways back, but yeah.
What? Like a month ago?
Yeah, it's like yeah, you're going on about like a month plus at this point. You guys have been traveling. And she goes, yes. Well, she did always have a soft spot for taking care of others in that respect, though. She is not without her own way of convincing people. She's in good hands, if that is what she's teaching her. Very dexterous.
Yes.
She, like, clears her throat a little bit, like, but she's well. She's healthy.
Yes.
She's not been
well,
injured or
healthy.
anything.
Not as far as we could tell. We shared some extra supplies so her crew will be better equipped. And
Was she wearing armor?
no,
she,
no, she wasn't.
she like makes a fist and like lightly taps it on the hearth. It's like, damn it. I keep sending her armor, but she won't put it on.
Alright, you know what? Insight. I'm inciting.
Yeah,
this.
roll insight. Oh my god, 21. Yeah, 21. What are you attempting to figure out?
I want to see if there's something going on between her and Mithril.
She, with a 21, she absolutely has the hots for Mithril Shaw.
Hold it!
No.
I sent armor pics. Why you no respond?
Yeah, I sent you plate mail. Why won't you respond?
Well, you know they can.
He goes, so she wasn't armed or anything? She's just wearing peasant's clothes as usual?
Yep, she did have high
Pretty
quality
much.
weapons.
Weapons. A dagger, perhaps.
Yes,
Yep.
one that
More like
concerningly appeared and disappeared at random.
Mm.
Yeah,
It was tricksy.
She goes, was it, and she describes the dagger, that you saw Mithril Shaw. She says, was it this one specifically? Did she have that in hand?
Yes.
looked like it.
Think so.
She's like, good. At least she's carrying around something to defend herself in the event of danger.
She sent her that dagger, didn't she?
Hundoki.
Yeah, like Palanthea,
She's
like
acting like a big
Caleb
old game
absolutely
disaster
would
right in
picked
front
up
of us.
on the fact, like she had an ornate, masterfully crafted mithril dagger that she was playing with
Yep.
when she was talking to you guys, and yeah, that she absolutely had in hand at all times.
Well-
You know what? Caleb's just gonna take a sip, but as
I mean, if she was
it's just quick smirk, shove plastic.
if she was playing with it, I feel like it would be more concerning that she's, obviously twirling it in her fingers, and then, 1 second she's got it, and then it's gone, and then it's in the other hand, and we never see it travel and or see her move her hands close to each other.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it was
It's a purple
some
blade.
it was some dexterous sleight of hand shit. And yeah.
Snack just kind of like tilts his head at her and just goes, Snack never got the impression she needed any help defending herself.
Iron Shaw's like, well, you don't know that. She's always getting in trouble.
In which case, just about now, snack. Ours is not to judge. Ours is not to assess. Besides, odds are we probably have stuff to take care of here. And it just gives Ironshaw just a quick nod. Just
Yes, to business. I understand that you are here looking for a specific noble.
Caleb?
Oh, sorry. I thought at this point Raynor was going to pipe up. What was the name of the house that I stole that artifact from?
It was actually never specified. The house that you got the artifact from, the red dragon statue hewn from red stone, from a minor noble's house in the town of Egris, to which then afterwards you went into hiding until the heat went down. And then one thing led to another, and you ended up in Autometh shortly after. The noble's house name is... anybody in the chat, what's a cool name of a noble house? Nope. Try again, Quad. No.
Well, what were you trying to suggest?
Crown Feather. That's a good name. Anybody else? We got the house Thorncliffe. That's not bad. Mr. McDinklesworth. Oh my god.
Who came up with that one?
You know what? Because it's Mr. Classic Magic and it's the MCN. McDucksman. How does that sound? Ironclaw Goldhaven. Those are really good names.
Were you stealing golden statues from
What is
Scrooge McDuck?
Thorncliffe is in Toronto.
Yeah, that's a place.
I will neither confirm nor
Yeah,
deny.
Thorncliffe Park. Yeah, that's in Toronto.
Yeah,
Okay, I was like,
in
I've
Toronto.
heard that name before. Where is that name from?
Yeah, it's a Toronto neighborhood.
Yeah,
Thorncliffe.
It's
If
it
we
is
pick
indeed.
If we pick one over the other, we can save the other names for something later on, I suppose.
McNugget. No Don. No Quad.
McNugget.
No.
What happens if I time out another mod? Do you know?
You can't.
Can you?
Can I ban another mod?
I said time out, not ban.
Yeah. I think you can.
I don't think you can.
McNichol
Only Doc can. Okay.
McNicholtonsworth is just ridiculous. You know what? I'm going to say Thornsworth. We'll say it's Thornsworth.
Okay.
Because I wanted something with
Thornberry.
worth on the end of it.
Thornberries.
The wild Thornsworths, the collectors of antiquity and purveyors of monstrous knowledge.
Nice.
Yes, the Thornsworths are not necessarily like a high noble. They're like middling as far as noble families go. But they do pride themselves on the collection of monstrous antiquities and knowledge. So they are people that believe themselves to be, through at least their lineage, to be sort of the forefront authority in knowledge of the monstrous races that once inhabited this continent.
Right. Well,
Hmm.
in that case,
Do you wish to speak with Master Thornsworth?
not necessarily. But a little while ago, I assume you've heard that he's had a couple of things disappear from his belonging.
There is the usual theft. What in the specific went missing from him that you're asking about?
A red statue of a statue of a red dragon.
Good. And she nods at you, Caleb specifically. It says, I abhor liars. I am aware of the statue that was lifted from his possession some time ago. I'm not here to judge on the merit of whatever it was that happened in that regard, but in this case, yes. I do know of the statue. I can arrange a meeting for you if you would like to do so.
It would probably be a good idea because, well, we need to see if he has any other artifacts that might be related to said statue.
Indeed.
As well as the history of said statue.
And she nods and says, I'm sure he would want to talk at length about that. She sort of sighs, exasperated. She just...
Oh, you've met him!
Yeah. And she says, I am this town's foremost guardian. I unfortunately am versed with some of its nobles as a result.
In that case, you and I may have a bit of an issue then.
Why is this?
That the thief that stole the red statue?
Is you, yes.
Oh, good, you know. All right.
she fucking leans in with a severe looking gaze and says, I am aware that you escaped. But she
Kel's
does
just
though.
Sitting there smirking. It's just, yeah.
She does straighten up though and says, but I am informed that you are now traveling with this new band of interesting individuals, and that your mission is no longer thievery or other unscrupulous things, but that you have been beneficial to the innocent people of this empire since your entrance into its territories.
Well, we did break up that slavery ring, so...
Yes, I heard you lit an entire town on fire.
To be fair, that wasn't me. That was... And he just waves his hand towards the rest of the party, minus Army. It was these guys that set the camp on fire.
And it was a slaver's compound. You burned it down, is that correct?
Yes, with a vengeance.
She, with heavy metal steps, walks up to the closest person who would be standing near her, and offers a hand to shake.
Shake her hand.
Her hand almost holds your hand plus your wrist and a bit of your forearm when she closes her gauntlet around you and gives you one good pump as she shakes it and then moves to the next person and shakes their hand once and goes around, and each person that when she shakes your hand gives you a nod, and it's just very, very severe approval gaze, it's
You're small, be gentle.
And yeah, Piffles, when she gets around to you, her hand goes not only holding your hand, but almost up to your elbow, where she grips you and gives your whole arm like a firm and then gives you a nod and kind of goes through each of the group, doing so.
I bet you could just palm Snack.
Big lady, that's right, Claire.
Big lady.
Snake's only 2'6".
Yeah, Piffles is 3 foot nothing.
I'm the shortest person in this whole party.
Yeah.
You are.
I weigh 28 pounds.
She
You guys are
when she does get around to Snack, she stops and offers to shake your hand by just holding it with her finger and thumb. Just grips your hand between her index finger and her thumb and gives you a little shake. And then same thing, respectful, nod, and then stands up the rest of the way.
Can I just fist bump her fingers?
large.
I'm pretty sure her fingers are probably still bigger than most of my hand. I'm serious. Can I just fist bump her finger?
Yeah. You give a little boop to her finger, and she frowns, kind of confused, furrows her brow, kind of examining your behavior, and then gives you a nod, and then stands up, and returns to her position. When she gets around to Vampire Daughter, and when she gets around to Arami, that she offers to shake her hand, not in a shake in a sense, but she grips just the fingers of Arami's hand like a noble would to a lady, and lowers herself to one knee and just holds her hand gently, and doesn't even look straight at her. She declines her head and averts her eyes when she does this. before getting back to her position by the hearth. Caleb, carrying that 21 insight, you can definitely tell that Ironshaw, with the way that she's treating Arami differently from the rest of the party, that she thinks Arami is she's a bit smitten by Vampire Daughter.
Aw.
Lady Bigham's meet Friar Smallest.
Fuck. God damn it. God damn it. Fuck.
And any chance of this moment being taken seriously has gone out the window.
Oh,
I'm just loving the amount of lady love in this room right now. It's great.
there's
Not gonna lie.
any chance of this session being taken seriously went out the episode when the timer said 0.
Yeah. There's a piff in here. It's not serious anymore.
Holds out a hand to Snake, accidentally smacks him, one-shots him, turns him into applesauce.
Crisscross applesauce.
Cutie in the
Uh-oh.
chat just like accidentally turned Snake into applesauce.
All right,
It's been a few weeks since our last session.
It was
We're
a
all little
powerful
stir
handshake.
crazy.
yeah, at that point, I just see that happen, and Kev's just like,
Mm-hmm.
just basically Talron's reaction when I'm hanging out with Army is,
Yeah. Arami, offers, a small smile and a giggle and covers her mouth a bit with her hand that's free. And is like, oh, so polite. Like, oh, thank you. And you can definitely tell that, the decorum to which Ironshaw carries herself is definitely that of a knight.
I was gonna say, if we actually had a full introduction to Ironshaw.
I mean, she introduced her name and told you that she's a guardian of the town, but anything else that if anybody wants to ask her questions, you absolutely can.
Talron takes this moment to introduce the entire party to Ironshaw. We know who Ironshaw is now. She doesn't know who we are other than descriptions.
Mm-hmm. As you introduce members of the party, she nods sternly along with each person.
And then definitely says, and this is my daughter Arami.
Roll me insight.
I'm sorry, I just like that in the background. Said, this is my daughter Arami, and next thing you know, you just hear this snap in the background.
Yeah, that was perfect.
An insight of 3. Yeah, you don't really pick up. She just kind of nods to you and goes good. Caleb, you can see when Talron is just and this is Arami, my daughter, that she's just she's like, okay, so this is dad, we need to be on good behavior for dad. All right, got it, check. This is a good opportunity if I want to ask this girl out later that's dad, and I should talk to him as well. I gotta make a good impression.
I like that she's a big gay disaster. I love this giant gay disaster so much.
Yeah, she definitely straightens herself up and broadens her shoulders a bit more, puffs out her chest a little up. Bit, squares up a little at mention of that, and is just respectful nod, oh yes, of course, good. Mrs. Talrand entirely, but she's definitely making herself try to look more presentable to Talrand in that regard. And yes, she is a beautiful gay disaster in this moment.
I also do go out of my way to make sure I show her my true face.
She doesn't react when you take the mask off, but she does stare a bit as you do that, and she does just kind of stare at your face and look into your eyes a little bit to sort of take in details, because this was obviously a missive made it to them from Silver Shaw before you arrived, but now she's seeing the details of this missive in person.
I'm sure all of the Shaws are aware of that. We've got a group of guys running around. They're a collection, but it seems courteous to not wear a mask when I can show my face to people. But also then puts it back on because of obvious reasons.
Getting a whole load of tsundere from Ironshaw. Down to probably pick on Iron's intentions a little while later. Oh yeah, very likely. Yeah, cutie, to the tune of the DK rap. Big gay. Shit, it's dad.
Okay, that's good. I gotta remember that.
Shit.
Not fun. Didn't
Dad is
laugh.
on his way here.
So, but yeah, she says that that for tonight she can't go and get the noble for you because it's late. But that she'll put feelers out and whatnot, and she will attempt to have him come to this establishment, to the Bulwark, and meet you guys here. In their sort of like, it's not secret, but it is a restricted space beneath the tavern. That she'll bring him down here tomorrow to talk to you guys. And she says until then, she offers if you guys would like any food, they can definitely like write it down on a parchment, and she will have that sent up, and then the food will be brought to the door. That like the bar staff and stuff are not allowed to come down here.
We appreciate that. No, it probably won't immediately matter, but there are no problems within your realm that we could help with.
She kind of just like shakes her head a little bit. She goes, "No, at least with regards to the things that are happening within this town's limits, I'm going to say the majority of it under control. There aren't any serious problems here that I do not already have my eyes and my ears upon."
Okay. Pleasure meeting you, Iron Shaw.
It is a pleasure meeting you as well. And she, I'm going to say, like, attempts to, like, put a hand on your shoulder in a way that's friendly. Roll me an athletics check, though.
Oh, no.
Because she's huge and covered in metal, and you're a skeleton, so you're fine. Like, when she like, rests a hand on your shoulder, and, God, it's heavy, but you're fine. Like, you manage, it doesn't, like, knock you over or anything.
She's big and heavy, and you are now bone meal.
yeah. And you are a literal skeleton, so like you're not that heavy by comparison. But you hold fine, like you hold firm. She didn't intend to try to like knock you over or anything like that, but she was just like, as like a friendly gesture between warriors, she like, clapped your shoulder with her hand.
And also a good rapport with Dad.
Yep.
Buddy
And also good rapport with Dad.
I just double checked, but I remember telling you that I looked up the actual weight of a dry skeleton. Do you remember what that was?
Nothing.
Sorry, I almost spat out my water just now.
What?
The dry weight of a full-sized adult human skeleton is about 20 pounds.
Yep. The majority of your personal weight is your equipment.
I am the lightest person in the party.
Yeah.
Yep.
Still to the DK rep. Tal Rand turns to dust. Oh, man.
If you would fail that athletics check, we'd be using him to fertilize crops.
Well, if he failed it, he just would have fallen over.
That's Talbert. He's dead.
Yeah,
He's dead.
But yeah, she engages you guys in like light conversation. There is sort of, and this is like sort of a nice call to home for you guys, as around the table there is like a number of benches and seats and stools and whatnot. There is a stump that she sits on when she sits at the end of the table with her back facing the hearth. As she does not remove her armor, but she does sort of like unhook the sword and shield from her back and lean them against the wall next to the hearth when she does sit down to drink and eat. And boy, does she drink. She really packs it away. She doesn't get like
all the size of piffles we weren't concerned about. The third one we started to get concerned about.
Yeah, like she sits down and like has like a large stein that she drinks from, and she packs in like a good couple of them, and it doesn't seem to faze her. That largely she seems to be fine. Like she doesn't get drunk or unseemly or out of her teacups, but as she's drinking and the evening goes on, she gets like a little more chatty, and yeah. If there's anything in particular you guys want to talk with her about, I will leave that open to you.
While Piffles is drinking and getting gradually more drunk, she's going to start pulling the wildflowers out of her pockets and make a pile of them on the table.
Okay. She doesn't really react to it too much. She just kind of
just
like
doing it for funsies.
yeah. She just kind of like looks at it and like nods.
Snacks. I got snacks.
Piling up the
Snacks.
goblin. She likes to look at all the snacks she's hoarded.
I do ask like the surrounding countryside and whatnot. Ask about that. You know.
Oh, she says that it's like it's good that they get produce and whatnot up from Allura. That the township here is mostly based on like academics and craftsmen, and that a number of nobles live here. Very much like Alderth, like this is a place where they kind of congregate in and amongst the other craftspeople and moneyed individuals. That there is this is actually her hometown where she grew up. And that her and her father grew up here, and she basically just like immediately got into military work and adventuring when she was young. That she used to travel as an adventurer.
Why do I get the feeling that Jaws used to be just one big adventuring party?
You're not that far off.
Hey, big lady, check it. Piffles heaps crushed wilted flowers onto the table. Pretty hot, right?
Hey, for a goblin, that is hat.
Read 'em and weep, boys.
It's just, look at all my snacks. Sunflower snacks. We don't have these down in the place where I grew up. This shit is gold.
Hell yeah, man. Like there are wildflowers that grow down in Autometh, but like certainly not to this abundance, and not these kinds of flowers. Like they're all definitely new.
Tastes real good. I haven't had these before.
Yeah.
Surface flowers. What a time to be alive.
If it's going to have a lot of admirers among the goblins when she gets back.
Oh hell yeah.
All right. Let's see.
I'm gonna learn how to make
Okay, cool.
flour granola.
So at a point, because like of everybody that's like sitting there and food's being brought and you guys are sort of enjoying yourself. Obviously, some members of your party do not eat, including like Aloy, Arami, and Talrind. At one point, though, Arami does sort of look over to Iron Shaw and say, "So you are very tall." And it's just like, is this normal for humans to be so tall sometimes? You are much taller than every human I've ever seen. And you, for the first time this entire evening that you've seen her, Ironshaw actually chuckles a little bit. And then as she brings her stein up to her mouth and says, "Yes, well, my mother was a giant and my father was very brave." And then she takes a drink. And then she continues on a little bit about how like the two of them were just madly in love, but eventually they decided that it would be safer after Ironshaw was born to move into the town, and where obviously the mother could not come along, but it would give Ironshaw the best chance at surviving. And she does actually note towards Caleb that like it's extremely rare to see half-breeds in the city like this, but like there are half-elves that face a little bit of scrutiny similarly to this, even though they're technically two halves of Empire-approved people. But that, like, sometimes there is, like, an extremely rare half-orc or a half-giant like her, or an air genasi or genasies of other kinds. Like, you might see one a generation, maybe two.
Though unlike most of them, a ladder wasn't involved.
Well, yeah, no, and she talks about the fact that, like, yeah, no, like, the boys tried to pick on her when she was younger, keyword being tried, because as a child, she was the size of a full-grown man, and was able to hold her own just as well, and had no issues whatsoever putting people in the dirt whenever things got sideways, and that's why she got into adventuring and wearing armor, and, you know, helping people that didn't see her, that she would basically make the thing that made her different, the, like, something that she could use to help others, that she was going to effectively wield her difference as a weapon in defense of the innocent. Sorry, I keep clearing my throat. Acolyte Suckers are talking about being picked on when she was younger and briefly looks sympathetic. Oh, yeah, because Sneck got picked on a bunch as a kobold.
Most of the party still doesn't realize Sneck has wings yet.
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure you said that in past tense, and I'm pretty sure that's incorrect.
Yeah.
Yeah, because those of us who saved Sneck from the giant trial, they know that he has wings.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I know nothing.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Speaking out of character. In character, Caleb doesn't know what the fuck you're talking about either.
It's like in character, only like half the party knows.
I know. I can't remember if I know or not, so I just meh.
Yeah, Mr. Now the important question, is she single? Considering that Arami rolled a 20 on that, she does sort of continue to ask questions of Shaw while they're sitting there. Things like, so, you said you're an adventurer. Like, what kind of adventures did you go on? Like, tell me about some of that. And she talks about how, actually, her and the rest of the Shaws were a traveling, adventuring party.
Well, there you go, Rainer.
Like, at one point in time, they were a party of people that traveled the land seeking to help people out. Like, they all used to be part of an adventuring party. They traveled the Empire saving people and hunting out monsters and whatnot, but that they figured out eventually through their adventures that it wasn't all exactly above board, and that they decided to do something about it. The leader of their party, a woman with the name of Shaw, actually tried to go to the Empire's capital to confront the Empress about what was going on, but she never returned. The rest of the party then split up and went underground, each of them taking the last name of Shaw and a medal as their first name. So Mithril Shaw was their rogue, Copper Shaw was an artificer, Silver Shaw was a hunter, and Iron Shaw was their fighter. That there is another one, though, whom she doesn't care for and doesn't talk to, who lives in the town of Stowport. Yeah. And let's see here. He goes by the name of Alabaster Shaw.
Alabaster?
What?
Yeah.
Isn't that a rock?
He's not a metal, he's a wool.
Yeah.
Sounds like this one was the difficult party member.
Even Alloy looks kind of confused at that name. Like,
All right.
again?
Caleb will pipe up. How long ago was that, if you don't mind me asking?
Some years ago, she says. I haven't seen any of them in a good number of years. It's rare that we step away from the towns that we're sort of keeping an eye on and see each other in person.
And is this alabaster going to prove to be a problem for us?
It depends on what you're going to Stowport for. She, sort of, rolls her eyes a bit and says, if you're going out to Stowport to drink and whore and steal things and make a mess of everybody else's lives, then sure.
guys, we found the bard!
Indeed, Alabaster Shaw was the party's bard.
Of course.
Ah, that's why he's a special snowflake. Got it. I can't name myself after a metal. I have to be carved into a
Yeah,
carvable
like
rock.
I was like, there isn't necessarily a name for like a white metal, that's not like silver.
Titanium.
Or platinum or titanium.
You know what? Platinum actually sounds better.
Yeah.
Platinum
it's also
Shaw
a
it is.
currency.
There we go.
Sweet.
Yeah.
It still sounds a little bit like he's like, I'm special. I'm platinum. You
Yeah.
guys
No,
are
exactly.
nickel,
Exactly.
Copper.
All bards.
Yeah.
All bards
Like-
were platinum edition.
Silver Shaw definitely got his name from his like silver magic eye that he had that he used to hunt monsters, and obviously silver is a common metal used for monster hunting. Mithril Shaw got her name clearly from like the stabbing implements that she used as an assassin, typically made from mithril, which is like a legendarily unbreakable metal. And
gee, I
can not only
wonder
that,
how-
but mithril also manages to, at least in this universe that some of you might know, cut through magic defenses.
And
Oh.
if I was to, vaguely hazard a guess about how Iron Shaw got
Yeah,
her name.
Iron Shaw clearly got her name because she's covered in fucking thick iron plate.
She's nearly wearing one alloy worth of metal.
Yeah. And Copper Shaw seems to have gotten his name from a lot of the ridiculous things that he used to build. Some of his inventions and ridiculous implements that he made commonly used copper as conductors.
But he also often needed to, enchant something small to do shenanigans with, and he's always like, I always have a massive supply of copper pieces.
Yep. And she talks about, very briefly, though she does not want to talk very much, about how the leader of their party, Gold, was the person that went into the Empire's capital and never came back. That she had long, gold, curly hair. And that she was very inspirational, and she kept the group together, and she was just fucking awesome, It was just like a good a leader as you can get. And that also she was an elf. That Gold
Maybe
Shaw
a
was an elf.
cleric. Maybe a cleric then.
Possible.
Well, you need a healer. Alright, well, upon hearing that, man, it's just... So what you're saying is, if we ever come across this Platinum Shaw, I should give him a slap for you?
she just kind of nods and says, "At least."
How about I make it 2?
she's like, kind of like gives you a side eye and is just like, "Yeah, you're speaking my language." Chrome Shaw was the artificer.
Because really, Platinum? Why name yourself that?
He imagined himself self-important and more valuable than other members of the party, but that was him. And she
3 slaps!
she does kind of like, after she's like, while she's bringing her stein up to her mouth to drink, she kind of like looks out of one eye at Caleb, and then puts it back down on the table, looks at him and says, "You look awful lot like him."
Who?
Platinum. You had wavy hair just like that. And she points at the top of your head.
Weird.
What?
And we find out Platinum Shaw was Caleb's dad.
Who? This Platinum.
Mhm.
He wasn't an Air Genasi, was he?
What's that? She like shakes her head.
An Air Genasi?
Yeah.
Me.
What, with your hair all funny?
No. I'm an Air Genasi.
She doesn't know
He's
what that
half
means. Like she just stares at you
Okay,
like she's unsure what that is supposed to mean. She kind of like looks
So-
around at the rest of the party to be like,
Alright.
He's half air elemental, effectively.
"Oh, she."
Same as how you're half giant, half human. I'm
Hmm.
half human, half air elemental. Thank you, Dracula.
Interesting. She, like, raises her eyebrows and looks at you and goes, oh! That would lend credence to why you were so hard to catch.
I have my ways. Just levitate the glass up so I can just catch it from my face. Just sip
Slippery.
and put it down.
Just like him. She, like, makes a fist and shakes it to herself a little bit.
Oh god, Cutie's last comment.
What?
Caleb's a bard bastard.
Now wait just a sec!
Now you hold the fuck on a minute.
Stop the fuck right there. Right, it's just... Oh god, Platinum was an Air Genasi, wasn't he?
He had skin like yours, and his hair moved like yours did. And he could do that, and she points at you levitating the drink.
Alright, well, in that case, first of all, I would just like to say, on behalf of Genasi, Air, Fire, Earth, and Water, whatever, everywhere, I would just like to say, I'm sorry you had to deal with him.
She very sternly, like, nods at you and says, I accept your apology.
Number 2, he's getting 4 slaps now.
I accept that as well. She's just like, good, yep.
And did he go...
It's gonna be... You're gonna see him, and he's gonna be like, is that you? My son? And it's just... And he's like, ah! What the fuck?
It's just... My son, is that you?
Somebody grab his arms. He needs more. He needs more slaps.
It's gonna be like that show Archer. You're just gonna start slapping the shit out of him. Just like, smack, 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 smack. Like, stop it! What the fuck?
I wonder if I could use prestidigitation to pants somebody.
Alright,
Could certainly use Mage Hand.
Getting back to the thing, it's just... Did he go by any other aliases, by any chance?
We all had names. Before we decide to take our oath.
Alright, out of character, would I know that Hilbraden would be...
I mean, you can mention it, because that was the name that was given to you by your wolf uncle back in the other town.
Alright, 1 second.
That Hilbaden was the name that he used to go by.
Alright, sorry. And, all seriousness, back in his face, it's just... Does the name Hilbaden mean anything to you?
Slowly, she nods at you. We do
last
not
thing.
speak our names.
Alright, one last thing. And with that, I just turned to pull up the Northern Wind. This was his, wasn't it?
Again, she slowly nods.
Son of a bitch, I'm a bastard of a bard.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna need more of this, and just continues drinking.
Yeah, just like, I'd want to drink more if I was his son too. Fuck, she takes another drink. I want to drink more, and I just met you. Like,
Other than your appearance, you don't seem to take after your father. It's a good thing, really.
Yeah, it's just yeah, no, like, but that's the thing. Like, you got the impression that when you were like, I apologize on behalf of him, she's just like, okay, like, I accept that. It's done. Like, I, still am wary of him, but I accept that apology. Like, yeah, because you verbally attempt to distance yourself from him, and she respects that.
Yeah, well, Esbane, did you say that out of character or in character?
I probably would have said something similar. It's like, from my experience with you thus far, Caleb, you sound nothing like him, other than your appearance.
Well,
I'm just listening. I hear you drink.
Aside from my parents, aside from my appearance, I take more after Mom and just drink.
Your mother was a human then.
Yep.
Is she well?
Yep. Well, here's the thing. A little while ago, she, I could tell that she was getting tired of living in the woods because we were driven out of town because of Dad and me. So,
This was purely my idea. I left home so she could reintegrate back into human society. I haven't heard from her since, but we did make a deal that at least one day a year, the same day, we would go back to that cabin and just spend the day together.
That is honorable of you. I hope that she is well. If she resides within my town, then I will ensure that she is kept well.
Alright, out of character, just looking for that name. If we did come up with it...
Egress?
No, for my mom.
Oh, where your mom ended up staying.
No, just my mom's name. So.
Lydia.
Lydia, okay.
Yeah, Lydia.
And with that, it's just... Alright, then. Have you ever come across anyone by the name of Lydia?
She kind of furrows her brows and shakes her head a bit and says, "Not to my memory, but I will keep an eye out."
Thank you.
You are welcome. And she continues to drink. Unless anybody has any other questions, the rest of the evening goes on pretty normal.
I think, like, Dracula, he's just trying to drink at this point. After hearing just like, okay, well, just suddenly got disappointed with his father.
Let's all of us have a drink. Yeah, you guys enjoy the rest of the evening, eating good tavern food and like having yourselves whatever drinks you enjoy, whatnot. At some point, because Arami engaged Ironshaw like in conversation, like about like personal stuff and whatnot, they like the two of them converse a bit more as the evening goes on. Iron definitely trying to show that she's just, being a good friend and she's indifferent. Like you can tell that whenever she's like speaking to Arami, she like sits up a little straighter and squares her shoulders out a bit more. Yeah, even with a 7, like you don't know why. You don't know why, but Iron, whenever she's talking to your daughter, talks a little bit different. But you're pretty sure it's just gals being pals. Like,
God damn it. God damn that stupid fucking narrative.
Yeah. Drakir, you absolutely catch on to the fact that Ironshaw is quite smitten with Arami, and that she has a type which appears to be like very femme, very pale-skinned, white-haired girls. Because Arami does look quite a bit like Mithril Shaw. At least they share very similar features.
I was just about to say that's. Oh well, yeah, no. If you took Mithril Shaw, put her in a like lady's dress, and get her to stop scowling, you'd probably end up with my daughter. Huh.
I'm trying to see if I kept that picture somewhere. Oh no, I removed it. Fuck.
So Ironshaw.
There it is.
What are some of your favorite adventures you had with Mithril?
Oh, that's Mithril Shaw. I'll paraphrase, but Iron goes on about like there was this one time that they were traveling together and they came across like a large aberration of some kind, some like flesh hulk that had come out of the woods and had torn its way through some farmsteads just north of Allura. And they were staying in Allura at the time, so when they heard the call to action, they were all on their feet and they made their way out quick in haste, and that it was like a resounding battle, that Mithril moved almost impossibly fast with just at least how Iron describes her as being just like graceful beyond words. And used like a pair of daggers in fighting this creature, and that even though it was this large sort of twisted flesh hulk, that Iron was very proud about how they stood their ground, and that they managed to push aside most of the incoming attacks with her huge fucking shield, and that the final blow was actually struck by her, raising her greatsword up and then just like crushing it down on the creature's head. And she reminisces a bit, both about the combat itself and about the resounding crunch sound that it made when she finally killed the creature. Sneck doesn't get this whole people being interested in each other thing. Yeah, Biffles drifts off a bit, head bonks the table, and darts back up again, flicking big.
Oh.
Aw.
Ma,
Oh,
there were
Paladin?
drinks and food and more fire, and I fall asleep.
In return, Drakkar is going to share some of their recent adventures.
Yeah, Iron listens very intently because, like, she'll interject occasionally as you're like, oh, and then this and this happened, and she goes, yes, that wasn't one of the reports I received, like, that, yeah, I heard about that, and I, like, oh, good, we heard this much about this thing you're telling me, like, please tell me more, and yeah, if you want to get into, like, full big detail on it, she'll, like, happily, listen to whatever it is you guys have to say.
And I most certainly go into what happened over at the abandoned town.
Yeah. That was a time. The fucking, yeah. And I'm going to let you carry the 22 insight. You can definitely tell that her interest in the stories is purely respectful from one warrior to another. That this is like sort of a custom amongst warriors that they would sit down and share tales of their exploits and the adventures they were on and the beasts that they slew and things like that.
While they're telling the stories, I'm gonna start playing my uke lute along with it.
Oh yeah, if you're playing your uke, she'll happily listen. She actually manages to squeeze out a smile in your direction as you play music. That there is, like, and again, Drakkar, you pick up that there's definitely, like, a bit of prejudice that she appears to be trying to get over. That, like, she's hearing reports that there's goblins traveling around with, like, a group of monsters that are doing things. And, like, a draconian, your lineage is of, like, the great and noble dragons. Whereas goblins are fucking goblins. So, like, seeing one sit at the table, eat flowers, and play an instrument and be adorable is, like, highly conflictive with, like, all of the indoctrinative information that she's received her whole life.
I, as an undead, get a little bit of a buy as a result of the fact that she's really desperate to be good.
Yeah, your dad, so, like, that gets you a little buy, but, like, also that you do have the mark of the hunter on you. That you carry the mark of a respected monster hunting guild, and that you wear it is like she does not miss the no small amount of irony that presents. That you are technically a monster and you're wearing, like, a high-ranking monster hunter guild mark. So, yeah.
Oh, Brad, I do actually have a question for her.
Yeah.
She said her father was an adventurer back in the day. What about her grandfather?
Well, she didn't say her father was an adventurer. She said her father was very brave. Because her father fucked a giant.
Oh, I thought she said that her father taught her how to fight and whatnot.
Oh, no, she learned fighting and adventuring stuff here in town where she grew up.
Okay, never mind then.
That there is an adventuring guild within Abraniel that... or, sorry, not Abraniel. Egris. That there is an adventuring town within Egris, an adventuring guild that you can join up with. That's like, it offers training in some amount to each of the, different walks of life, like archery and, martial prowess and magic and some other things like that people could learn. Stealth, assassination.
Here, we're going to teach you how to use a weapon in a way that doesn't immediately imply that you're going to stab yourself with it.
Yeah. And a lot of the people try to make their livings as adventurers. A lot of them actually head down to Ogun, the adventure town on the edge of the wastelands. But others still will kind of travel around looking for people to help and, you know, glory to gain and gold to plunder and whatever else.
Sorry, I thought that she'd said her father was one as well.
No, very specifically. Her father used to be a tavern owner, but then the tavern fell on hard times, so he had to close up and decided that he would try his luck being a woodsman, and on his first day in, met a beautiful giantess to whom he immediately fell in love with, and then followed her around and, you know, kept her in conversation until they eventually had a kid together.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was attempting to see if she knew stories of like a century ago at all. In case
No.
I potentially encountered in my wanderings.
She says she's only 27.
Yes, but if you know her passed down stories, obviously enough, I wasn't expecting her to be a century old.
No. I mean, some giants can live for quite a while. But as it is, she doesn't like know her mother terribly well because when she was just like a toddler, they moved back into the city without her, and she went north, and that was it.
Do you know your mother's name?
She shakes her head no.
Okay.
Are there giants in Ottoman?
There are a few that live in the eastern mountains. You rarely see them. They do not like interacting with others. Not that they hate other people, they just like to keep to themselves. They're very solitary.
They're very big, and everyone else is very, very small.
They're a solitary people. But yeah, as the evening continues on, you guys are eventually shown to a small room with a few bunks in it that has been sort of dug out and built off to one side. Yeah, so then at that point she bids you a good night. And with that, I believe we will wrap up for the night. That will be game.
Yeah. It's a good time. It's like 11 o'clock, so.
Indeed. Apologize for going on so long. We did start a little bit late, and I wanted to definitely get to this point and get through this scene here before we get onto that. But yes, thank you everybody for coming out to our game today. Yeah, more Bim Galady.
Not a complaint.
That's right. But thank you everyone for coming out to our game. I've been having a huge amount of fun running this for you guys. I apologize for the amount of coughing and dad noises I've been making throughout the entirety of the stream. Just trying to get through it with my voice failing. But I'm glad we got this far. Anyways, thank you all for your views and your donations, your bits and subscriptions. Where would we be, of course, be without our wonderful party that we've got here with us? From the top of the list, we've got Esteban playing our skeleton archer dad, Talrand.
Tolerant, I'm 130 and I'm no longer dead.
And of course, we've got Raynor playing our draconian sorcerer, Drakiar.
I shall soon have my answers.
And of course, we've got Kaldaka Gray playing our cleric, who's a kobold named Snick.
Zach actually kind of wants to find out what happened to Gold Shaw, because he kind of likes the various Shaws so far.
And of course, we've got Alloy, the Warforged warrior, played by Quad.
It is so painful right now playing a stoic character.
Quad. Buddy, I feel you. And of course, we've got our Air Genasi rogue, Caleb, being played by Palanthier.
Still getting over the fact that I'm a bastard of a bird.
We found your daddy.
Well, you know more about him. Haven't met him. Haven't found him yet. And of course, last but certainly not least, we've got Ambisaurus Rex playing our Goblin Bard Piffles.
Yeah, I love it.
What?
Said everyone we've met this time has been gay, and I love it.
Good.
See?
And until next time, of course, I have been your kind and benevolent, hopefully, DM, Toronto's greatest supervillain and evil genius, Dr. Terwat, coming to you live from our Lair 4.0, and we'll see you all again tomorrow on our next live stream as we wrap up Resident Evil Village. End of line.